See the difference cost cutters make. Go Krogering.
Burger King tempts your taste buds, your tummy, your eyes. Get a double cheeseburger for only 99 cents. Now, doesn't that tempt your wallet? The double cheeseburger, just 99 cents. Burger King, the best food for fast times.
Joanne Woodward stars tonight here on 13.
Well, I knew something was up when they dressed me like this for my show tonight. Spencer, Dolly, and Buck James will not be on because of the big game. Take it away, boys.
ABC Sports and the Olympics, a long-standing partnership. Again, at the Winter Games of Calgary, the Olympic tradition continues.
The Minnesota Twins' victory in Game 6 was filled with images that will linger. John Tudor struggling to hang on to a 5-3 lead, before Don Baylor tied the score in the 5th inning. The base hit by Steve Lombardozzi. And Tom Brunansky's rolling slide for the tie-breaking run. But the image that will linger longest is that one Ken Daly pitch, which Kent Herbeck deposited into the thundering throng. Which leads us to Game 7 at the Metrodome. ABC Sports presents the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals against the American League champion Minnesota Twins in Game 7 of the 1987 World Series. Minneapolis tonight, it is 46 degrees outside the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, and inside a comfortable 70. Warm and larynxes willing, very loud once again as the baseball season comes to an end one way or another. Michaels, welcome to Game 7 and a milestone of sorts. This is the 500th game in the history of the World Series. You know, baseball is different than football, basketball, and hockey in that you should not have that big a home field advantage, but don't tell that to Whitey Herzog. The Minnesota Twins had the best record in baseball during the regular season at home. They won their 2 playoff games at home, and in the World Series, they've won 3 from the Cardinals at home, and they've scored 29 runs in the process. And tonight, they send one of the 2 aces of their staff to the mound in Frank Viola against the St. Louis Cardinals, who tonight start a rookie left-hander, Joe McGrain, and the entire Cardinal lineup with a cumulative total of 32 home runs for the entire year, the same amount of home runs Tom Brunansky hit for the Minnesota Twins alone. But don't sell the Cardinals short. After all, they have gotten to the 7th game of the World Series. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Aetna and its insurance agents and brokers across America. Work with the best in the business, Aetna. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by American Airlines, something special in the air. Gotta go.
I own an insurance agency, center of town.
Going over to the office.
I got wiped out as bad as anybody. But I knew people would be coming to me to help them put their lives back together. And they didn't need
George.
a helpless insurance agent. I called Aetna.
You've got 4 computer terminals coming down air freight tomorrow. We'll restore your records as soon as you're back online.
Your coverage.
Everything?
Everything. When you've got the best in the business behind you, you can do some things.
I learned 2 things this week, George. Twisters are even worse than everybody said. And you're even better. Appreciate it.
Well, you're the kind of man that likes to do things your own way. And you can bet it's right when you get through. Ooh. And there's a beer that always fits right in your hand. 'Cause you're a bud, man, and this bud's for you. Oh, you do. This bud's for you.
Saturday, ABC's College Football Today goes off to the races for the Washington, D.C. International. Then it's a Pac-10 showdown as conference leader UCLA meets last year's champ Arizona State. Or 2 Big Ten powers collide as the Michigan State Spartans take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. It all begins Saturday with ABC's College Football Today.
You realize the importance of Game 7, and to win that game, this is the World's Championship, because there's so many players in the history of baseball never come close to winning a World's Championship ring.
As far as the 2 managers are concerned, one will have a nice big diamond in his ring, and the other will have a slightly smaller gem, dependent upon the outcome of tonight's 7th game. Tom Kelly of the Minnesota Twins, Whitey Herzog of the St. Louis Cardinals. I talked with both earlier. First, Kelly talks about last night.
Well, I had a rough night of sleeping. Wake up, think about things, and go back to sleep, and I think that happened 3 times, and the clock is moving very slow. And I think when the game gets started, though, we'll be in good shape. If Frankie pitches good, we'll have a good chance. If things get a little shaky, well, then it's going to be a struggle. But pitching's the name of the game, and if we can go and pitch good, we'll have a good chance.
Well, basically, Al, it's no secret to anybody. They've just been an outstanding ball club in this ballpark, and we haven't been able to get them out. They've got 29 runs in 3 ball games against us. It's the same guys that pitched in St. Louis that pitched here, and we got them out on a lot of breaking balls, a lot of change-ups down there, and they come up here and they hit everything we throw. I don't know what the deal is, but they got an awful lot of confidence playing in this ballpark. They got a lot of fan enthusiasm, and if we're going to have a chance to win this ball game, we've got to hold them down. I mean, every night we've been going by the 4th or 5th inning.
They are warming up at the Metrodome. More than 55,000 will look on for Game 7. And the pitching matchup, the rookie McGrain, the veteran Viola.
You've got the whole world in your hand. You've got the whole wide world in your hand. You've got the whole world in your hand. You've got the whole world in your hand.
Put the whole world in your hand with Radio Shack's new portable cellular phone. A price and technology breakthrough.
You've got the whole world in your hand.
Only at Radio Shack, the technology store.
A double pleasure's waiting for you. A double pleasure from Double Mint Gum. A double great feeling, making you realize Double Mint's the one for you. Double fresh, double smooth, double delicious to chew. A double pleasure's waiting for you. Double Mint Gum. A double pleasure's waiting for you. Double Mint Gum.
Hi, I'm John Cryer, and I've just discovered there's one thing more horrifying than being chased by hitmen. And there's only one thing more terrifying than being hunted by the FBI.
Find the man.
And there's only one thing more frightening than murder. high school. But that's where I'm hiding out.
Hiding Out, rated PG-13. Special sneak preview Friday, October 30th. Check newspapers.
Nice flying, Greg.
Thanks.
So, you're really not going to do another tour?
Nah, Susan and I have made plans.
You're going to miss this place.
Murdoch, my mind's made up, all right?
Then I guess you're going to want this.
American accepted me. Looks like I'm going back to flight school.
I hope they know they're getting one of the best.
When you're something special, people know it.
Settle back with Game 7 of the World Series coming up very shortly. But right now, let's go to Peter Jennings at ABC News in New York.
Well, how long before Game 7 is over tonight, we'll have some indication of how the world's stock markets may perform this week. It is Monday already in Tokyo. The market there is open, and so far it is up and steady. On Wall Street, employees at the stock exchange did not rest on the 7th day. In many cases, they're still trying to figure out what happened last week. Tomorrow morning in Washington, President Reagan will meet with the leaders of Congress. They're going to work on cutting the federal deficit. There is pressure to cut spending and raise taxes. And, of course, before the night is over, who won the series will be the big news. But in the Persian Gulf earlier today, the Iraqis beat the Iranians at volleyball. Moreover, in the middle of an incredibly bitter war, they played in Kuwait, which is an ally of Iraq and an enemy of Iran. Which tells us something, Al, but we're not sure what. Have a good game.
Thank you, Peter. We're just minutes away from the start of Game 7, and let's join the public address announcer at the Metrodome, Bob Casey.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored tonight to have the Joint Service Colored Guard representing the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force presenting the colors for the final game of this 1987 World Series. And now please welcome a talented family of young musicians originally hailing from the tropical island of Tonga in the South Pacific. Now making their home here in Minnesota, they have become international recording stars with several hit songs to their credit. Please give a very warm Minnesota welcome to the Jets as they honor America in the singing of our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the
We'll come back to Game 7 of the 1987 World Series after this message from Major League Baseball and a word from your local station. McGee hits one deep to right and down the line into the corner and off the wall. McGee has a double.
ABC Sports and Major League Baseball present the official 1987 World Series highlight video cassette. All the dramatic moments, exclusive interviews, and special camera coverage. Send $19.98 by check, pay $3 for postage and handling, or use Visa or MasterCard. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. The preceding announcement was sponsored by Major League Baseball.
An empire was his destiny. She was his obsession. Beginning November 10th, Napoleon and Josephine, a love story.
He's curious.
He's offbeat. He's witty.
He's thought-provoking.
always refreshing.
The curious, offbeat, witty, thought-provoking, refreshing world of Alvin Van Black, live at 5 here on Channel 13.
We used to play ball all summer in Alvin, but we were depressed. We didn't have a Whataburger. Then we started going on road games. Win or lose, we'd go to Whataburger. I wasn't depressed any longer. Whataburger still makes mine just the way I like it, with lots of pickles. And for my fastball, lots of jalapenos. I don't look forward to road games much anymore. You try to find a Whataburger in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York.
Jim Rosenfield talks about Eyewitness News.
Though I've been around for quite a while, I'm a newcomer compared to Dave, Shara, Melanie, and Bob. But there are many things we have in common. We all give you our very best, particularly in digging deeper for facts and balancing viewpoints. Extra effort is what made Eyewitness News #1 in Texas. And you can count on me to help keep it that way.
Jim Rosenfield, part of the 13 Eyewitness News team. We care about people.
I'm Bob Allen, Eyewitness Sports. You're watching Channel 13, your World Series station.
ABC Sports presents the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals against the American League champion Minnesota Twins in Game 7 of the 1987 World Series. And this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Aetna and its insurance agents and brokers across America. Work with the best in the business, Aetna. By IBM. And by Chevrolet, the official car and truck of Major League Baseball. The 1987 baseball season concludes tonight. The 7th game of the World Series under the dome in Minneapolis. The St. Louis Cardinals against the Minnesota Twins. It's McGrain against Viola. I'm Al Michaels, and isn't this the way it should be? You start at the end of February and you finish it on the 25th of October. One game for the championship. This is the 84th World Series. This is the 31st time it has gone to a 7th game. And for what it's worth, 17 of the prior 30 have been won by the visiting teams. No World Series has ever gone the route with the home team winning every game, and certainly the Twins hope to accomplish that tonight. Tim McCarver, you're a man who played in 3 7th games with the Cardinals in '64 and '67 and '68, and certainly the St. Louis Cardinals are no strangers to 7th games.
Well, I should say not. As a matter of fact, the last 7 World Series in which the Cardinals have participated dated back to 1946. All 7 series have gone to 7 games. The odds on that, 3,400 to 1. And speaking of odds, what are the odds on a rookie starting the 7th game of the World Series? Well, in the 10 series that the Cardinals have played 7 games, no rookie has ever started, and tonight it'll be Joe McGrain, the left-hander, on the mound. Joe with an 11-9 record this year. And I don't really believe that it's going to be a problem physically for McGrain tonight. I believe that facing from a mental standpoint, the intense heat that the crowd can put on young players, especially here in the Metrodome, is going to be the major problem.
And if he falters early on 2 days rest, it would be Danny Cox in long relief. Well, Tim played in 3 7th games. Jim Palmer has been a part of a couple of teams. Baltimore, that went to a 7th game on 2 occasions. What's the mood like in the clubhouse before a 7th game?
Well, what's so interesting is about the 2 World Series that I didn't play in, but I watched, which was 1971 and 1979. We were poised to win. We had the right people out there, and we were always thwarted by 1 or 2 players. 1971, Steve Blass beat us 2-1. Roberto Clemente with great hitting, and then in 1979, Scotty McGregor on the mound for the Orioles, Willie Stargell with a home run to beat us. And if you go back to 1965 with the Twins here in Minneapolis, Sandy Koufax on 2 days rest comes out of nowhere to shut him out with 10 strikeouts, 2-0. But the most interesting thing about baseball to me as a former player is when I go back and think about a baseball season, exhibition games, about 30 of them, 162 games that you trudge through, then you battle through a playoff, then you get to a World Series and you find yourself all of a sudden in a 7th game. You know what to do to win, but only one team can win.
Put your feet up and settle back. It's a magical phrase in itself. The 7th game of the World Series.
In McDonald's, we're tossing salads fresh all day. Every day.
I mean, it's fresh when you get it, and it's fresh when I pop it in my mouth. It's like having somebody come in your own kitchen and make you a salad.
I come through the drive-thru, it's quick, it's easy.
McDonald's chef salad, chicken salad, oriental, and garden salad. For a taste that's tossed fresh.
It's really crisp and fresh.
My taste buds just went crazy.
Tossed fresh all day. McDonald's salads.
Recently, DuPont discovered people with great carpets had to make great saves. So DuPont developed certified Stainmaster carpet. Now, even if a stain like this sits for hours, it's a memory in minutes with DuPont Stainmaster. Sooner or later, you're going to need it. Stainmaster, only from DuPont.
Your face takes enough abuse, so you need the Gillette Good News Plus disposable. Its Lubra-Smooth strip is designed to reduce irritation, so shaving feels so good. Good News Plus.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Better try something else. Mine really works.
You'd better try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it more than all of the leading brands. None get rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue.
Tuesday, there's a new boy in Sam's life.
He's funny, he's bright, he's aware.
And he's wasting no time.
Well, what's going on?
You told me to be nice to him.
Who's the boss? Then talk about growing pains.
Yeah, come on, I'm dribbling here. So use your sleeve.
Tuesday.
The LA Rams, the Cleveland Browns. They meet on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, plus regional coverage of the Denver, Minnesota game.
Line. With us tonight are three individuals who each in their own way have contributed greatly to the success of Minnesota baseball. Baseball first honors the former president of the Twins, who continues to serve as the club's executive committee, Mr. Howard Fox. Mr. Fox will present baseballs to each of tonight's two honored guests. We now honor the man who brought baseball to the Twin Cities in 1961, the former owner of the Twins, Mr. Calvin Griffith. Calvin's side is the man who kept baseball in Minnesota in 1984, Mr. Carl Pohlad. Gentlemen, the stage is set for Game 7 of the World Series. Fire when ready.
The Twins to a raucous ovation. A Homer hanky-waving ovation take the field. Cardinal lineup, Vince Coleman to lead off. Ozzie Smith batting second. Tommy Herr hits third. Then the rookie, Jim Lindemann, spelling Jack Clark at first base. Willie McGee batting in the 5 spot. Tony Pena is the designated hitter tonight. He bats 6th. Jose Oquendo is in right. Tom Lawless, the big hero the other night in St. Louis, and Steve Lake is the catcher. It is Lake's first start in the World Series. He and McGrain work well. Pena DHs. Gladden, Puckett, and Brunansky in the Minnesota outfield with Gaetti, Gagne, Lombardozzi, and Herbeck, who hit the grand slam yesterday, comprising the infield. Tim Laudner back of the plate, and Frank Viola, who pitched Game 1 and pitched Game 4, now pitches again in the 7th game. The inside pitch on Frank from the Milwaukee Brewers, Paul Molitor.
Frank Viola's development of a changeup over the past 2 years has taken him from being a good pitcher to a great pitcher. The one thing he has to be careful about there is he occasionally might tip his pitches, holding his fastball lower in the glove as opposed to his changeup or his breaking ball, which he holds higher up into the webbing. The Cardinals should have some success stealing third against him, but he does a very good job of holding runners on first base.
So Frank Viola, who pitched so well in Game 1 and not very well in Game 4 when Tom Lawless homered, a 3-run homer, that was the big blow to knock him out, comes back with 3 days rest, Jim.
Oh, it certainly was, and he was so overpowering, had a great changeup in the first game, and then in Game 4, first to admit everything was up, couldn't get his changeup over, made a mistake to Lawless for the 3-run home run. But you are looking at one of the best pitchers in the American League, and of all of baseball, trailing only Dwight Gooden in wins along with Jack Morris. And we're talking about the winningest left-hander in baseball over the last 4 years. 17 wins this year, 16, 18, and 18.
So the crowd already standing and picking up where they left off yesterday when the Twins wanted to send it to 7. And here we go with Vince Coleman to start things off. Coleman, Smith, and Herr. Vince Coleman, who hit .268 during the regular season right-handed and really having his problems from this side in postseason.
Well, that's a good starting point. If you want to try to beat the Cardinals, keep him off base. As Paul Molitor says, if you get on, Viola has a good move. Only 5 successful steals out of 21 attempts.
Game 7 begins with a curve for a strike. And there must have been 1,000 flashballs popping as well. Dave Phillips, with the rotation, is the same umpire who was behind the plate in Game 1. And he called that game with Viola pitching. So he knows him very well, not only from regular season, but from postseason. 0-2.
Also, excuse me, one of the best umpires in the American League. In fact, Joe McGrain was asking. Hard to believe he can't remember how he umpired back in the first game, but as Whitey said, he's sometimes on Planet 7, but a good, consistent umpire, the one you want behind the plate for a big game.
Viola ahead, 0-2 on Coleman. Got him.
Well, that's something we did not see in St. Louis. They said he was much quicker in the first game in Minneapolis than he was in St. Louis, and this is a 90-plus fastball. Coleman can't catch up. Cardinal hitters will tell you, I don't know if it's the background or whatever, but it's harder to see the ball here. They saw it much better in Busch Stadium.
Now Ozzie Smith breaking ball low. The other night in Game 1, Viola started the game by getting Coleman on a comebacker. In Game 4, as he did here, he struck Coleman out. Smith hit .249 this season, right-handed, .335 the other way. So another advantage for the Twins tonight is they are able to turn around Coleman, turn around Smith.
And also turn around Tommy Herr and Jose Oquendo. Together, they are 2 for 25. I should say among the 4 of them. 2 for 25 from the right side. So only Willie McGee has been able to thwart the left-handed pitching of the Twins so far.
In the air to right center field, Puckett moves toward the gap and gets it. Quickly 2 down here in the first inning with the bases empty. And Tommy Herr coming up, and you have to stand that close, even if you're the home club, as Brunansky and Puckett have to go mouth to ear for communication.
I think when you talk to all the Cardinals, that's what they say. It's communication. You have to never can take your eye off a fly ball. You can't hear the guy next to you. If you're coming in from center field, you really can't hear an infielder calling off a ball.
Tommy Herr hit a home run yesterday. The Cardinals in this World Series have hit 2 home runs. Herr yesterday and, of course, Lawless the other night. But in the 6 games, St. Louis has been limited to 9 extra base hits. Twins have 18, including 7 homers.
Whitey in that interview in the pregame hit the nail on the head as you take a look at Whitey. He said, we got to stay close. If we do, he thinks that the advantage tilts towards the Cardinals. They can run on just about all the relievers except maybe Schatzeder.
Speaking of tilting, Whitey in a new position. He's out of his lawn chair and onto the bench. You rarely see him sitting on the bench with the players.
And in between the battery of McGrain and Lake.
Yeah.
Little grounder to third. Gary Gaetti turns it into out number 3, and the Cardinals are gone in order after a half. St. Louis nothing, and Minnesota coming up.
Freddie Lynn on deck. The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays there.
They begin so small, and the game is so hard. But they have an incredible secret advantage. They have such heroes to inspire them. Aetna is proud to sponsor the 84th encounter between the best in the business and the best in the business. The heroes of October are with us again.
Lineup tonight for Minnesota, Dan Gladden leading off. It's the same lineup they used yesterday to score 11 with. Gagne batting second. Kirby Puckett had a big day. He was 4 for 4, hits third. Cleanup hitter is Gary Gaetti. DH Don Baylor, big 5th inning homer yesterday and 3 RBIs. Brunansky batting in the 6th spot. Ken Herbeck, who hit the grand slam, batting 7th. Tim Laudner does the catching. Steve Lombardozzi at second base. So the Twins very much going with the lineup which got them here, while the Cardinal lineup is obviously, because of the injuries and other problems, somewhat skewed. Joe McGrain, the pitcher, the inside pitch on him from the Padres' Tony Gwynn.
I had a lot of trouble hitting Joe McGrain this year. He throws a fastball, breaking ball, changeup. But his best pitch is a fastball. And he sinks it, he runs it in and out. But I think the Minnesota Twins will have an opportunity to steal some bases against Joe. Even though he's left-handed, he's real deliberate going to the plate.
Tony Gwynn, the National League batting champion, so he should know. Outfield, Coleman, McGee, and Oquendo. Infield, Lawless at third, Smith at short, Her at second, and Lindemann at first. This is their lineup against left-handed pitching. Steve Lake does the catching with Pena as the DH and McGrain on the mound to face Dan Gladden.
And Steve Lake should neutralize the weaknesses that Joe McGrain has in his move to first base. He's a better throwing catcher right now than Tony Pena.
And they'll try to keep Gladden off the bases, and that's been difficult. Gladden has a hit in all 6 games. He's the only player on either team to boast of that, and he looks at a strike. Gladden, Gagne, and Puckett in the bottom of the first with no score. Joe McGain, very bright, very articulate, and loves his flaky image. Gets it over for a strike, and it's 0-2.
And he can also pitch when he's healthy. Started out the season 5-0, and then had some elbow problems. Went 2-7, and then 1-2 to go 9-7. Big game, 1-0 game on September 29th. And you look at 1-0. You said he was really in control. He wasn't. He was all over the place. Seems already with 2 pitches, he's got pretty good control.
And just misses inside. 1-2.
That's that big breaking ball that Tony Gwynn talked about. He would like to be able to run the ball away from the right-handed hitters, run the ball away from Ken Herbeck, and get his breaking ball over. When he gets ahead, he'll come inside, but basically wants to throw that sinker away.
It's grounded and stopped by Lindemann. Shovels to McGrain. Nice play for the out. 1 gone here in the first inning. So they keep Gladden off the base paths, and it'll bring up Gagne.
Well, that was a triple yesterday, Timmy. You see, this is almost the same swing, same ball, maybe a little bit more to the right of the bag, but instead of Dreesen being there, Lindemann is there and smothers the ball and makes a nice play.
1 out. Gagne is the hitter. Greg struggling in the series with just 4 hits. And yesterday he was 1 for 5. 1 out, bases empty in Game 7 at the Metrodome. Think about Joe Magrane for a second. When Joe Magrane started the season, he's in the minor leagues. He's in Louisville on opening day. And here he is on closing day, pitching for the World Championship.
Called up when Tudor broke his leg back in April after a good spring.
The injury to Tudor got Magrane to the majors earlier than Whitey Herzog had anticipated, and he made the most of the opportunity. Gagne around the bunt and missing for strike 2.
He was trying to push that ball between Magrane and Lindeman. Lindeman playing deep. You can play deep with 2 strikes, but a good idea by Greg Gagne. See, he wants to push it, and it's a good thing to do against the left-handed pitcher because all left-handers fall toward third base. So that gives you an even bigger hole to bunt the ball between the first baseman and the pitcher.
Oh, and 2 the count. One out and the base is empty. Joe Magrane has moved around in his life. His father right now teaching at Morehead State University in Kentucky, but part of Magrane's childhood was spent in this area. And he pitched in this ballpark as a collegiate. He went to the University of Arizona and faced Minnesota a couple of years ago in the Metrodome. And he gets it. Ran it down and in on Gagne, and there are 2 gone with Kirby Puckett coming up.
And this is a point that you alluded to all series, Timmy. When you get ahead, you can make the hitter expand the strike zone. Look where this ball is. It's an obvious ball, but you got to go at it. Tight spin on the breaking ball. Take another look. Makes him expand the zone, and he swings at the pitcher's pitch.
That's that disappearing slider. It serves as the illusion of a strike, but it's got a late break to it, similar to the idol of Joe Magrane when he was growing up, Steve Carlton.
And he finally got to meet Steve, in fact, the other night in St. Louis.
He did indeed.
Strike. 0-1.
And as glib as he is, he was almost speechless.
He really was. We, of course, we're all there, and Joe came up to meet Steve, and it was just wonderful. I mean, seeing the expression on his face, like a little 9-year-old boy meeting Steve Carlton instead of a guy pitching the 7th game of the World Series.
Well, it's funny because a lot of players block several things out, but Magrane is the kind of guy that he knows where he is, and he's relishing and trying to savor every moment. Obviously, he's thinking about taking care of the Twins, but he is the kind of guy, and we've gotten to know him a little bit over the past couple of weeks, who is fully aware of this particular point in time and what it means.
And at this particular point in time, I think he crossed up Steve Lake, and I believe, I mean, they're concerned about maybe the Twins have their signs, and Whitey more or less alluded. 29 runs. It looks like they're hitting all kinds of pitches. So I imagine they're using different sequences, even with nobody on, just to kind of confuse the Twins in case they are getting pictures. And right there, he crossed them up. You don't want that to happen with somebody on, a runner on third or something like that.
Yeah, you want to keep signs simple enough to get, but difficult enough to not have them being stolen.
2 out, bases empty, and 1-1 the count on Puckett. Hit slowly toward third. Lawless throws low, scoop late. Puckett beats it out for an infield single.
A lot of times when infielders feel the ball, they feel the ball in the web, and instead of throwing it with 2 fingers, they throw it with 3 fingers. I think that's what happened to Lawless on that play. A very close play at first base, but that ring finger is for rings. It's not used for throwing.
Well, we've seen Tom Lawless. Saw him in game 1. Does not have a strong arm. I really believe he has to play a little more shallower with a fast runner, even with 2 strikes.
You do give up something on the sharply hit balls by playing more shallow on the rug, however.
Gary Gaetti takes low, ball 1. 1 to go.
well, he's out.
Yeah.
He was out. Very close play.
Again, I don't mean a radical departure from where you normally play, but a step or two. I mean, a guy like Pendleton can play where he wants to because he's got a strong arm. Wallace doesn't have that.
2-0, the count on Gaetti.
Because if you go back to the infamous 4th inning in the first game, and I was talking to McGrain, he said, "You think they have my sides?" And it was a roller to Lawless, then a broken bat hit up the middle, then a bad pitch, Bernansky line drive. Herbeck followed with a grounder up the middle. Not exactly a lot of hard hit balls, but what contributed was walks.
2-0 to Gaetti. 2-1. Rick Rennick coaching at third. And Gaetti looking down to see if Puckett will be in motion.
Rick Rennick, the third base coach, Abe. What could have been a very serious fall last night. He fell down a flight of stairs with his hands in his pockets. You see a black eye, his right eye black, so we're thankful that Rick's not hurt.
2-1 the count. And it's hit toward the gap in right center field, but racing over is Oquendo, and he makes the catch. Great play by Jose. No score after 1.
With nobody out here in the 7th inning, and Roger Maris is the batter against McMahon. That's the first hit off McMahon, the second hit for Flood in the game. Maris has struck out and walked twice and scored a run. He has hitting room through the right side. A half swing and a pop fly might drop for a base hit. It does. An extra base hit. Flood heads for third. Maris for second. And he has a pop fly double with nobody out. McMahon will work off the pull. Trying for the play at the plate on Flood. The event of a ground ball.
Season after season, the people who brew Budweiser have been proud to be part of America's national pastime with you.
Outfield deep to the left for Cepeda. The windup by McMahon. Swung on, and there's a drive to left field. It might be gone.
Patty Schoenfeld is deaf and has a speech impairment, but a unique IBM computer system lets her talk on the phone. To help people with disabilities, IBM established a national center that provides information about special computer equipment made by IBM and other companies. So people like Art Sweet, who are almost blind, can read a financial statement. People like Neil Gill, who can't easily sign their names, can write a memo. And people who have difficulty using their arms, like Madge Pentecost, can use a computer by aiming an infrared beam. This IBM Center serves as a source of information for these and other innovations, so more people with disabilities can use their abilities. For information, write IBM Box C1030, Atlanta, Georgia.
Some outfielders, when they're going to their right, would elect to backhand this ball, but you see that little loop that Oquendo takes, and he makes a fine running catch.
And as he came back to the dugout, and even finer considering, again, the roof and also the crowd with not only the white Homer hankies, but a lot of people wearing those white Minnesota Twins American League champion sweatshirts.
Well, that's what Ozzie Smith said yesterday. He said, we haven't beaten ourselves. In fact, the Twins played worse than the Cardinals. What happened is they just got blown out of the ballpark. So defense, so much of their game.
Jim Lindemann starts the second inning by looping one into center field for a base hit. So Lindemann is 5 for 13 in the World Series, playing in a platoon role. The rookie leads off with a base hit in the second inning, and Willie McGee comes up. McGee with the most hits of anybody in the series, 9, hitting .391.
Everybody well aware that the Cardinals not only have to beat the Twins, but they have to keep the crowd out of the ball game. The best way to do it is to get an early lead. They did that last night until the 5th inning.
It's lining to left for a base hit. Gladden fields on a hop. Lindemann stops at second. And so the first two Cardinals get on here in the second inning. And it will bring up Tony Pena, who is the designated hitter.
Well, exactly what Frank Viola was afraid of. And you can see Dick Such saying up. You take another look. Two high pitches. One to Lindemann, one to McGee. Look where it is. He has to be down in the strike zone. That's belt high in the middle of the plate. He cannot live there and be successful. Third consecutive start with 3 days rest. He said it doesn't make a whole lot of difference if you do it regularly over the course of a season. He has not done it. About the 5th or 6th time he's done it all year.
Tony Pena, who had 2 sacrifices during the regular season, with the Twins having to protect against the bunt, but he's up there to swing away and takes low and in. Nick Leyva flashing the signs from third, with Herbeck having to play in and Gaetti as well at first and third.
A lot of times what determines whether you bunt or not is who's following you. I doubt that they'll bunt here with the bottom part of the order coming up.
They've got Oquendo on deck, but then you go to Lawless and Lake. Curve is hit to left field and down the line and deep, and it is a foul ball. Foul ball, says Ken Kaiser with some emphasis as well.
Again, another ball hit hard, a high curveball. Good idea, 1-0 to come back with a curveball, but not in the position where he threw it. As you see the ball hooking, Viola gets away with a bad pitch. Pena out of front a little bit. He's not a pull hitter. We've been seeing him drive the ball to right field.
Tom Kelly told me before the game that they will try to get Pena out with breaking balls. Too many fastballs have been fed to Tony so far in this series.
Another fastball, though, is wrapped into center for a base hit. Lindemann around third comes in to score. Stopping at second is McGee. Cardinals lead 1-0.
Tom Kelly really frustrated before the game, saying Tony Pena has been getting one fastball after the other. We've told all of our pitchers to throw breaking balls. Possibly the fact that he hit the breaking ball well resulted in this fastball.
Exactly, and it was a good pitch in the sense that it was down, but if you know any scouting report on Pena, he likes the ball preferably away.
So now Oquendo, and it's the 7th game of the World Series, which means the bullpen. They will not wait. Oquendo, with the Twins still having to guard against the bunt, first and second. He's up there to swing away and fouls it off. And it's going to be Bert Blyleven who gets up. He is working on 2 days rest, but there he is. He's got all winter to rest.
Well, he was ready yesterday. In fact, he put his spikes on. They said, no way we will use you. And he said, just in case, and now he's up and throwing.
1-1 the count.
To clarify that deal about Pena, you know, if the guy's a fastball hitter, that doesn't mean you can't throw him fastballs. What you try to do, however, is throw him fastballs where he can't hurt you. And with first and second, I would imagine that's what Tom was talking about, that if you're in a pinch, go right to the weakness of Pena. Game situations come at different parts of the game.
Bardozzi ducking in to keep McGee close at second. Willie at second base, and Pena at first. Nobody out in the second inning. Cardinals have jumped on top, 1-0. Popped up, and the infield fly rule is in effect. Herbeck makes it official. One away in the second inning. I don't know if the Twins could hear each other, but Herbeck was going to make sure Lombardozzi didn't come anywhere near him. And had Lombo come over, he would have gotten a black eye.
Well, that's the difference. You'll see Herbeck never, ever take his eye off the ball. You can't do that here. And that's the problems that visiting teams have. You take your eye off the ball, you never pick it up again.
One of the great lines during the playoffs was a banner saying Herbeck, buy a vowel. All he has to
to do is look at his neighbor at second base. He can give him a couple.
Lombardozzi or borrow one from Okendo, maybe.
Yeah.
Lawless takes a strike, and the count 0-1. And the last time Lawless faced Viola, Busch Stadium erupted in Game 4. 3-run homer.
0-1 high fastball. I got the message right there that Viola was not throwing that well, only in a sense that he wasn't behind. Lawless, not a home run hitter, only 2 hits before that. Jumped on a high fastball and hit it about 365, 70 feet.
Enough.
In the air to right center field and deep, but Puckett has room and makes the catch on the track. McGee tags and goes to third. Pena retreats to first. So Tom Lawless, a deep drive again off Viola, but this time a long out, and it will bring up Steve Lake with runners at first and third and 2 down.
Definitely a high ball hitter. This one, you can see where this one ends up. If he pulls it, it's a home run, but Viola went away up in the strike zone. Similar pitch that he hit for a home run, but instead of being inside, it was out in the outside part of the plate.
I think Lautner out talking to Viola now and telling not only Viola but Gagne and Lombardozzi what he's going to do in case Pena tries to go to second and the Cardinals tried to get a cheap run, which they may do with Steve Lake hitting Steve's first postseason at bat.
He came in earlier in the series to catch the 9th inning in Game 5, but didn't hit. And he hits it into left field for a base hit. So another sudden hero. 2-0 as McGee scores. Steve Lake.
Great line. He comes into the training room. He's watching the football game, and he says, 1 minute I'm watching the football game. The next time I'm starting the 7th game of a World Series. First pitch base hit. Down middle of the plate.
As a matter of fact, Jim, Steve was telling both Al and me that he could be the hero tonight. He said, look at all the heroes so far.
He said, I'm the only Scribini who hasn't started.
Right.
2 out, first and second. Coleman swings and misses. But one thing you got to love about a Steve Lake, he was telling me a story the other night. Talk about life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art. He watches the beginning of a game of the World Series on television in the clubhouse, and then he says, wait a minute, I'm here. And he opens up the doors, and he says, there it is. I walk into the stadium, and I'm in uniform. He said, it wasn't official, though, until I heard the opening billboards. 1-1.
Such a major part in their season. When Pena broke his thumb, he played early in the year. The reason McGrain is having him as his catcher tonight is because they've had such a great success. I think he's 5-1 with McGrain. Throws well, and he can hit.
2-1 the count on Coleman. So Blyleven still in the bullpen. Back of Viola. 2-0 St. Louis in the 2nd inning. And there he is, Viola, a 6.04 ERA, pitching under these circumstances, and 281 when he gets his rest. To shallow center field, Lombardozzi and Gagne go out, and it's Gagne for the count. But the Cardinals parlay 4 singles into 2 runs and a 2-0 lead the middle of the 2nd inning.
There's a place where time has stood still. Yorktown, Virginia.
A lot of tourists come here, and that was my problem. I run a hotel association reservation center. We couldn't handle all the calls. Our system seemed this outdated.
AT&T comes through with advanced telemarketing.
Since our AT&T consultant helped us redesign our operation, business is booming.
From equipment to networking, from computers to communications, AT&T is the right choice.
Here's to the winners, those who move mountains. Here's to the miracles they make us see.
Holiday Inn welcomes you, the people who know that winning at life is working hard at it and living it fully day after day.
Here's to the winners, all of us can be.
Holiday Inn salutes you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way.
I'm here for some straight talk about the stock market. It's important to everyone. It provides capital that creates jobs to make America grow. Emotions can run high during market turbulence, just when reason should prevail. We are confident in the markets. We've stayed active in them for all investors. America's economy is the strongest in the world with great ability to bounce back. At Merrill Lynch, we're still bullish on America.
Listen to the heartbeat. I'm not easily impressed. Of America. I figured the new Beretta can't possibly drive as good as it looks. Well, it proved me wrong. Beretta's tuned sports suspension really handled the curves. It felt taut yet smooth and definitely sophisticated. Professionally, it's outstanding. Personally, I'm hooked. The heartbeat of America. Beretta. That's today's Chevrolet.
A little in-between psychology from Dick Such, the pitching coach, and that's what, of course, pitching coaches do. Help you with your mechanics, but sometimes soothe your soul.
I'll tell you, I'd rather have a hitting instructor as a batter soothe my soul than help me with mechanics. I think that's what batting practice is for. I don't think that belongs in a game unless it's blatant.
Don Baylor to start the bottom of the second inning. 2-0 St. Louis, taking a strike. Baylor, Brunansky, and a Herbeck. Don Baylor with the Red Sox until August. Twins picked him up prior to the deadline. And his first homer as a Twin came yesterday. And what a homer. It tied the game. And eventually Minnesota went on to win 11-5. Joe McGrain. And Baylor with a strike. And Dave Phillips hit by the baseball, so shaking it off.
Well, breaking ball with one strike. You can't really see it from that angle, but this is why, even though he's hit, and you'll watch the ball spin away and hit Davey Phillips, first thing he does is look at the first base umpire for some help. Right there out of frame, even though he's probably hurting, and he gets the affirmation from Lee Wire.
Great, in the line of duty. In agony, he still makes the call, and Baylor gets hit by the pitch. And that's nothing new.
About the 226th time in his career.
Anytime you work Baylor inside, you're going to run that risk.
It's one of his defensive measures, really, and that's not applicable here because it's a breaking ball, but his big weakness is up and in, so he just turns into the ball and takes that away from the opposing pitcher. That time a breaking ball hits him in the foot.
Yeah, Jimmy, Don was hit 255 times. As a matter of fact, he broke Ron Hunt's record. The Hunter was hit 243 times. But usually it's not hit in that particular fashion with the breaking ball down and in.
Brunansky. Fastball low, 1-0. McGrain's reaction after hitting Baylor. Especially when you get ahead in the count.
Head in the count, head of the game, leadoff batter. A lot of reasons he's disappointed.
1-0 on Brunansky. Nobody out. Bottom of the second, 2-0 Cards. Toward the home base hit. Baylor stops at second.
That's the thing about the Twins in this ballpark. They refuse to let you take the crowd out of the game. They bounced right back last night, and they're trying to do it again this evening.
Ken Herbeck, first and second, and nobody out. One and oh.
See, that's fine to start Herbeck off with a breaking ball, but I would think he is looking for a fastball, trying to drive it, and afford to look for his pitch here and see what McGrain does.
2-0. Wallace visits McGrain.
this crowd, it's almost as though they should go to spring training with the Twins. You got to be physical to watch a game here.
Woo. Check swing and a strike called by McSherry at third, and is Herbeck angry? I don't know how Phillips can hear him.
I think all his anger is directed at John McSherry, the third base coach. I didn't think so. What do you think, Jimmy?
Now you'll be able to tell better from here. Did he go across home plate? I don't think that's a swing.
I don't either.
Again, the guy that had the best view in the ballpark is John McSherry, and he called it. Did make Kent happy.
2-1. 2-2.
What's interesting, after you hit a grand slam, you've been in a slump, you'd think you'd be not aggressive and not that. You can see right there, one hit in the 13s, and that's the grand slam off Kent Daly yesterday. He's taken some close pitches you'd think he'd swing at, not to criticize him, but he's been very patient.
3-2 on Herbeck.
Send the runners here?
I don't.
It's tough. Even though you do have a double play hitter hitting, you got a ground ball pitcher.
Herbeck struck out 60 times, not that much for a power hitter, but he grounded into 13 double plays. Tough call here. Runners don't go, and he strikes out swinging. And that's a case where maybe they go if it's a right-handed pitcher, but not against the lefty. And how big now is that check swing strike now that he's gone on strikes?
Well, right in his power, low ball hitter, low pitch, and it sinks. That's the key. 3-2. McGrain has such a live arm. You think the ball is going to stay, and you can see right there the pleasure with John McSherry that Kent Herbeck displays.
Well, the great thing about this game is that there's no way the umpire can hear you from that distance. You're never going to get thrown out.
No.
Laudner rips it foul into the fourth row.
You could kind of see this coming. Watch Herbie, as he's affectionately known by his teammate, start his verbal barrage toward John McSherry.
McSherry, part of the heftiest umpiring crew in history. Strike 2. 0-2 on Laudner. Tim did not join the hit parade yesterday. Performed well early in the series, but as you see now down to 263, and he was 0 for 5 in Minnesota's 15-hit barrage yesterday afternoon. Baylor is at second. Rumansky at first. 1 out in the second inning. 2-0 Cards.
That Steve Lake was asking where that pitch was. Again, it's very hard to talk to a catcher or a catcher talking to an umpire, but that curveball, the only place it was around the plate. Pretty good pitch.
That's grounded to the hole for a base hit. Baylor is being waved in. Here comes Coleman's throw to Lake. They get him. What a throw. Brodnansky stops at second.
I'll tell you, if you're going to trade that out, Vince Coleman with 16 assists on the year, second to Glenn Wilson of the Phillies, who led the National League with 19. But we brought this up earlier. The reason he is so good at that, he charges the ball. But in my opinion, Brodnansky and Laudner should move up because of the ball being hit so sharply. I'll tell you, it looked like a high tag to me. The ball
looks like he's safe.
Looks like he's safe, but because the ball beat him, the little short hop and the tag. Yeah, he tagged him high. Yeah, he's safe.
Oh, yeah. Some of the people are booing. They didn't put it up on the big screen, but there are enough private boxes here that have televisions, and they saw what you saw. So you get about 20% of the folks booing, and those with the portable televisions as well. Pitch up and away. If they put that up on the big screen, this place would have come apart.
Take a look again. Looks like Baylor's right leg way across the plate before Steve tags him up the leg.
Yeah.
And now more people have access to television monitors, and that's the booing you're hearing. Lombardozzi with the count 1-0.
Getting back to the other base runners, you saw Don Baylor thrown out trying to, Don doesn't run that well. If you're the runner at first base, you've got to look for the throw. If it's too high, that's what determines whether you go to third or not. A ball hit that sharply, the chances of a pretty good throwing outfielder like Coleman getting Baylor is pretty good. And he did nail him, but in the course of nailing him, you want to move your runners up 90 feet. Both Loudner and Bernansky.
Crowd is chanting safe, safe, safe.
He was. But the ball beat him by such a large margin, I can understand how Davy Phillips missed that call.
And that's the type of call. It's not that uncommon. You see that play happen a lot. High tag, foot there, but out. 2-0 on Lombardozzi. And that's wrapped into center field for a base hit. Romansky will come in to score, throw into second, getting back in there safely is Hodner. Danny Cox to the pen on 2 days rest. It's 2-1.
Oh, the first bad pitch, or truly bad pitch. Look where it is. Belt high, middle of the plate. Lombardozzi, 3 hits yesterday, is on a hot streak. Today's no exception. McGee with a smart play. Throws behind the runner, but he almost gets Laudner at second. Knew he did not have a chance. Good play by Willie McGee.
Dan Gladden grounded out in the first inning. 3 hits and a hit batsman here in the second. Change missing, 1-0. Whitey, a new posture, a new position, but he has to send Cox to the pen. One and one on Gladden. This has the makings, at least at the outset, of a very wild game. You've got Viola definitely struggling, working on 3 days rest. The rookie McGrain, the long man with 2 days rest in Cox, and the Metrodome. Good fastball.
It appears that Steve Lake is giving positioning to Joe McGrain, and it's the first spot he touches. If it's his left leg, first, it's inside. The right leg, it's outside. And when you give position, usually it's a fastball. Let's see if it's inside again.
2-2.
Breaking ball.
What you said is Steve Carlton, who you caught for years, was a fastball, basically away slider in. So you can throw and show position on a breaking ball if you throw a hard slider, and that's what McGrain's throwing. He certainly doesn't want it out over the plate if he throws him a breaking ball.
Inside again.
Popped up. Tommy Herr is there. And he stays with it. Twins get a run. 2-1 Cards after 2. Back after this from your local station.
Have most married women had extramarital affairs? Cher Height's new book says yes, and it's causing controversy.
The great majority of women are saying that they're frustrated and dissatisfied with their relationships with men.
Now an ABC News poll suggests her conclusions may be unfounded. Monday, watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
You're all alone. The challenge is to select an office communication system that will carry your company into the next century and beyond. It must be infinitely expandable, expertly maintained, absolutely cost-effective, and reliable as the sunrise. The simple solution: go straight to the source and plug into the future. Plexar. From Southwestern Bell Telephone, the one to call on.
The weekend of November 6th, Clint Eastwood is back in the saddle and he's ready for anything.
When two hunters go after the same prey, they usually end up shooting each other in the back, and we don't want to shoot each other in the back.
First, he's the cool bounty hunter whose job doesn't end until the job is done.
Such a big reward being offered on all you gentlemen might just turn you into the law.
Then when death stalks the high plains, the wise befriend the drifter.
Maybe you think you're fast enough to keep up with us, huh? Not faster than you'll ever live to be.
And finally, Clint takes on a whole army with 2 guns and a fistful of dynamite.
To attack now would be suicide.
Spend the weekend with Clint, beginning November 6th, here on 13.
Well, if there's gonna be any shooting, I gotta get my rest.
Dave Ward, 13 Eyewitness News. Week.
Not only do you at home have the best view of that play with Baylor sliding in, but you would think Davey Phillips would have the same view of that play. The difference is it's happening much quicker.
We mentioned that no World Series has ever gone the distance with the home team winning every game. They've come close on those 4 occasions, but in each instance, the visiting team won Game 7. Ozzie Smith starts the third with a chopper to third, and he's thrown out by Gaetti. Watch him play every day, and you really appreciate him. The G-Man.
I only had to watch him about 13 games a year, and I appreciate it. But Ozzie Smith, the only way to hit this ball, and you see Gaetti backpedal playing in for the bunt, and an awfully strong arm. See how shallow he's playing, sets himself. He's got a gun for an arm. They call it a rifle, and he throws him out easily. That ball's over his head. He's got to be looking fastball. He jumped on it, wasn't able to get a base hit.
Tommy Herr with 1 out. Tries to bunt his way on, but foul. 0-1 on Herr. Tommy grounded out in the first inning. 1 out, bases empty. We're in the 3rd inning of Game 7. Cardinals on top, 2-1.
The 26 pitches through 2 innings. That's really not an inordinately high number, but the results have not been good because, speaking of high, he's been up in the strike zone.
0-1 to Herr. It fouled on the count, 0-2. Lindemann on deck.
Tommy Herr has a most unusual batting style. It's almost like both feet are doing a pitter-pattering motion before he swings. Most hitters dig in with their back feet. Not true with Herr.
But you'd also call him a front foot hitter, which is why he doesn't have a lot of power. Most home run hitters really do pivot off that back foot, throw their hips, and he slides forward.
One and two.
Again, does not have the physical characteristics or makeup of a home run hitter, and he does what he does best, which is hit the ball back up the middle, Busch Stadium being a huge ballpark.
A lot of times there you see that little pitter-patter motion of Tommy Herr.
It's almost a rhythm.
Half swing foul.
A lot of times what determines whether a guy's going to be a home run hitter or not is not only power, it's lift in the swing.
And as Jim pointed out, with that much movement, you're more likely to hit the top half of the ball and therefore not have as much lift as if you were to hit off your back leg.
He got a little bit of lift yesterday. Batting from the left side, he lifted it right into the upper deck.
Gave the Cardinals a momentary lift.
Yes, he did. Foul away again, and still a ball and 2 strikes on Tommy Herd. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Cards. 1 run, 4 hits for the Twins. Twins are trying to win their first ever World Series title since moving to Minnesota. The only time that this franchise has won a World Championship was back in 1924 when they were the Washington Senators. Cards, of course, have won it as recently as 1982. And that's line foul. Twins in the World Series for the 2nd time ever. The other time, 1965, when they went 7 with the Dodgers. The 7th game was played at Old Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. The difference was that day, Minnesota faced a fellow by the name of Koufax.
2 days rest, 10 strikeouts, 2-0 victory.
Good change, curve, got it. They're way out in front.
That's what you can do when you get ahead. You can take a little something off. The ball ends up being almost a perfect pitch, maybe a little bit low. Look where Laudner catches it. Way out. You watch him reach out on his front foot. That's what you want. You swing at the motion. Try to pick it up as quickly as you can, but that's the definition of a good curveball. He just has that tight spin. You don't really recognize it.
Jim Lindemann has a fastball blown by him. 0-1. Foul, and it's 0-2. What's Lindemann's future? Well, they think of him as a right fielder. He's playing first base in the series because of the absence of Clark. And there is Jack Clark, ineligible for the series, and also a free agent. So if Clark comes back, then Lindemann does figure to go to right. And if he doesn't for some reason, then it's another story. 1-2 the count.
I've been very impressed with Jim Lindemann. He's battled all year long. He had a great spring training, great winter season. Of course, that is in the major leagues. You can see the postseason numbers, so he's really helped him get to the 7th game. The back problems have bothered him all year, and apparently you see him with the hot packs every day. Good, quick bat.
Got him on a fastball. 3 up, 3 down after 2.5. It's St. Louis 2, Minnesota 1.
A simple country boy has simple needs. A house, a car, and the most advanced high-performance tires on the road.
Take me where this heart began. Love to ride the same good land that my daddy loved.
The Goodyear Eagle VR was developed out of a Formula One racing tire design, and that's important, even if you're just going next door.
Goodyear, take me home.
When you bite Dentine, that snappy flavor bites you back. And that tingle freshens your breath. Dentine, the gum that bites you back.
I've got a man with a slow hand. He's got a face that I love to touch.
Schick Super 2 Plus blades with a comfort strip for the easy touch.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Better try something else. Mine really works.
You'd better try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it more than all of the leading brands. None get rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue.
Becoming an American Express card member is now as simple as picking up one of these. Because now you can apply for membership over the phone. Membership has its privileges. To apply, call 1-800-THE-CARD.
Wednesday.
Call me crazy, but it bugs me if someone gets away with murder. What kind of a city is this?
John Ritter is Hooperman. Then, Dabney Coleman.
Do me a favor, will you? Put the paper in my hand like that. Thanks for listening.
The Slap Maxwell story after Hooperman, Wednesday.
Real guys are back, and tomorrow on Monday Night Football, most of you will see the Rams at Cleveland. Those of you in the Denver and Minneapolis-St. Paul regions will see the Broncos play the Vikings here. That game would have been played today, but this facility was booked. They had another event, so it's delayed today. We're going to the bottom of the third inning. Game 7 of the World Series. Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver at the Metrodome. 2-1 Cards, Gagne, Puckett, and Gaetti. Gagne struck out in the first. 1-0. Rookie Joe McGreen, 23 years old. One and one. It's a funny game with McGrane pitching in the 7th game of the World Series. The crowd serenaded Roy Smalley of the Twins on his 35th birthday today. He's not in the lineup, but he has finally, after a long career, made it to the World Series. Then you take a look at, as we said yesterday, Gene Mott, a great manager for our money, and he's never been there. Takes funny twists and turns, and then this Tom Kelly, a rookie manager at the age of 37, managing in the World Series and a possible world title.
It's almost cruel the way Gene Mott has been treated in postseason play, as you see, Tom, who could, if he wins this game, become the youngest manager since Lou Boudreau. Lou was 31 back in 1948, but he was a playing manager.
Got him. Kept it in and down on him, and he's out of there.
Well, same formula as Frank Violi. Gets ahead, and then Gagne chases a ball. Started out as a strike, but good sailing cut fastball in on the hands, and when it ended up, it was about 6 inches inside.
Kirby Puckett had 4 hits yesterday and a single, an infield hit here tonight. So that's 1 shy of the series record. Goose Goslin did it in 24, and he was an old twin in a way as a member of the Washington Senators. Strike.
Not until the World Series, doing a little preparation, did I read about that 1924 World Series and how the Washington Senators won. 2 bad hops. One to tie it over Freddie Lindstrom's head. The other one scored Muddy Rule on a bad hop single in the 12th inning, and the winning pitcher, Walter Johnson.
They beat the New York Giants, and that's the last time a 7th game in the World Series went to extra inning. Second and last time. Puckett drives it to deep center field. McGee goes all the way back, leaps up, and has it. Willie McGee does what Kirby Puckett does to so many in the American League. He robs them.
We saw how great a center fielder on the effort he made the other night in St. Louis. Right there, a little premature jump, but boy, does he get up there. Talking triple. And it's so true with another angle. You see a little short of the warning track. Not sure of the field here as much as he would in Busch Stadium. About Kirby Puckett, they said when he gets hot, and we've seen the 5 hits, it doesn't matter what you throw up there. I mean, that was a low and away curveball. He went out and raked it almost 410 feet to center field.
Gaetti with 2 out and the bases empty. Lake taking that shot. Willie McGee. And there are a few guys who can appreciate that play more than Puckett, because he's looked at that play from the other end a lot.
This is a wonderful city to come to unless you're an outfielder.
1-0 pitch in the dirt again, and it's 2-0.
On the other hand, Jim, you can understand how Puckett can make plays like that because of the give of that hefty bag material. You can't do that into the hard rubber of most outfield fences, and I'm sure that's run through Kirby's mind.
Just don't find a beam.
Yeah, right. The beams that are between are on either side of the 4-8 sign, and there's that beam. That is hard.
It's padded, but it's much harder than the hefty stuff.
Right.
That fence only being 7 feet high, so if you, even though you're small of stature like Puckett and you can jump 4 or 5 times, he's gone over that fence.
2 out, bases empty. 2-0 on Gaetti. Lawless to Lindemann and off his glove. So a not-so-routine play, as it turns out. And that's an error on Lindemann. The scoring is an assist on Lawless. That's the way a play like that is scored. And then E3.
We've talked about the lack of arm strength. Right there, it gets the ball to him plenty of times, and he just drops it into the runner, but not that much that he shouldn't come up with it. Not exactly very smooth footwork, Timmy.
That's his 3rd error, and the Cardinals have made 6. Lindemann has half of it. Yeah, it was almost like he was crossing across. It really looked awkward going after the ball.
It looked like he reached before he really saw the throw. He made a stretch and then couldn't adjust.
Don Baylor with 2 out takes low, ball 1.
Makes you appreciate a Herbeck or a Hernandez or a Murray or a Mattingly. Guys that have such smooth feet, you never notice really what they're doing around the bag.
Grounded to Lindemann, and he was almost ready to atone, but it's a foul ball.
You know, that's not Lee Wire's call. The ball wasn't to first base. Lee Wire made the call.
And I'm wondering if he was looking in at Davey Phillips, because until it gets to the bag, the call belongs to Dave Phillips.
Right. So possibly Lee made the call after Phillips went up with both arms.
Watch Davey Phillips right here. Home plate umpire.
He doesn't have the angle.
Ooh.
I'll tell you, that's close.
But it did look foul. Close, yeah.
Close.
1-1. Grounded foul. 1-2.
Dave Phillips didn't jump out right away, and I think Lee Wire had to make the call. Now, True Lindemann landed in foul territory. Sure, we'll see it one more time. We saw it. But before the ball reaches the first base bag, it's the home plate umpire's call. And Dave did not appear to jump out and look down the line in time to really be in a position to make that call. So Wire really necessarily had to make the call.
Runner goes, pitch is low and inside, and the throw, no chance. Giant jump, and Lake didn't have a prayer to throw Gaetti out. Another look now at the fair or foul.
And this is not an easy call, but see for yourself.
See, when he gloves that ball, I think he was in fair territory. I think he may have been right on the line. Obviously, his momentum took him into foul territory.
Now that we've looked 3 times, I agree with you.
Maybe, you know.
2-2 to Baylor, got him swinging. So the error does no damage, and we'll move to the 4th in Game 7. Still 2-1 St. Louis.
Peter said I could have anything I wanted. So I took his Van Heusen shirt right off his back.
Van Heusen, for a man to wear and a woman to borrow.
What if things you never thought of in color were suddenly in color? That's how we thought of our new Delta faucets. They'll color the whole way you look at faucets, and maybe everything else. Delta washerless faucets, designs that last. There's a vacancy at the Bates Motel.
Norman, is that you?
No, it's Buzz McKenzie, and it could be you. Look for this display and enter Bud Light Psycho Sweepstakes to win a Bud Light party with Buzz McKenzie at the Psycho Mansion. You could even get a mug like Spud's at participating retailers. Wow!
That Spud is so cool, it's scary.
Shearson Lehman Brothers.
where we stand. The extraordinary events in the stock market are as unsettling as they are unprecedented. To help you through this difficult time, all Shearson Lehman Brothers offices will remain open late. Now, more than ever, talk with us. Shearson Lehman Brothers, minds over money.
Here's why these members of the United States ski team prefer Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
I came down with some mean cold symptoms. I was congested, I was tired, I couldn't breathe through my nose. I took Alka-Seltzer Plus and it helped to remove those cold symptoms.
I've got a number of guys that are depending on me, and I have to be out there the next day. And Alka-Seltzer Plus really helps me do that.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
It's the first time I've ever found anything that actually worked for me.
The key may be here. Watch Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire. As the ball approaches first base, Phillips doesn't get in the proper position to make that call. Consequently, Wire's not in the right position, and Phillips' arms go up after Wire makes the call.
And the way it turns out, at least, it winds up inconsequential because Baylor strikes out. So it, as it turns out, has no effect. And in the fourth inning, McGee starts things off for the Cardinals.
Yes and no. He only had to throw 3 or 4 more pitches, and it makes it a little more difficult. 2 more to strike him out. So it's make you work a little bit harder. I mean, not a major happening.
1-0 pitch, and it's 1-1. Certainly not like a home run on the next pitch.
A lot of tough calls tonight. And we get to see him 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 2 of them have involved Don Baylor. The out call at home, and then the slicing ground ball down first.
1-2 on Willie McGee, Pena, and Oquendo. Fourth inning at the Metrodome in Game 7. 1 game for the title, and the Cardinals lead 2-1. Viola gets McGee. That is McGee. If you've watched him in postseason, he's a real good hitter, has been. He's won a batting title, but he will strike out during the course of the season 50 times on pitches way out of the strike zone.
Well, 9th time in this World Series. You can see he's disappointed again, just as Lindemann. He expanded the strike zone, and the key to really the way as you look at a disappointed Willie McGee is that Viola is getting ahead again, and they're chasing bad pitches. Excuse me, hasn't really established his changeup tonight, something that he used in the first game.
He has struck out 4, and he has struck out the last 3, and he's retired 5 in a row. Pena fouls it away, and it's 0-1.
That's that pitch you were talking about where Tom Kelly wants it in on his fist. The fastball, instead of away, which has resulted in a base hit, come in on him, Tim.
And also, you're in a position now to feed to a hitter's strength. There's nobody on base. Sometimes you get hurt doing that, but with nobody on, that's when you want to throw the fastball hitter the fastball.
One and one. As if they need more reason to make noise, a wave rolls around the Metrodome.
Indoor wave.
Surfs up.
They ought to have a no-wake rule in Major League Baseball.
1-2 on the ever-smiling Pena.
I think waves are becoming to crowds what leisure suits are to clothing.
Passe?
Absolutely. Way passe.
Ancient history, yes.
You mean you haven't seen Palmer's Closet recently? One and 2 to count on Pena. Got it. And boy, is he insane.
what he sees. Why throw a strike when they'll swing at balls? What's this? I mean, he's throwing about 93 miles per hour, but why throw it in the zone? And this is one of the few pitchers that can pitch within the strike zone, but if they're not going to make you, why do it?
Okendo grounds it to Gaetti, who corrals it and throws him out. 7 straight set down by Viola. 3.5, 2-1 Cardinals.
Yes, Mrs. Ferber. I'll be right over.
What's up?
It's Alex. He's been burying things in Mrs. Ferber's garden again.
Right here. Alex, a bottle of Stroh's. Keep digging. Nice, Alex. 15-pack. Keep digging.
With Stroh's and Stroh Light 15 and 30 packs, you get more beer.
How did he get a whole truck down there?
Why don't we ask the driver?
When you have miles to go and promises to keep.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
You could just discover new Chevrolet Corsica. And find not just a sports sedan with exceptional road performance, but a sports sedan designed to keep all your promises.
The heartbeat of America.
Corsica.
That's today Chevrolet.
Here's to the winners, those who move mountains. Here's to the miracles they make us see.
Holiday Inn welcomes you, the people who know that winning at life is working hard at it and living it fully day after day.
Here's to the winners, all of us can be.
Holiday Inn salutes you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way.
This cold medicine gives you 12 hours of relief and comes highly recommended by pharmacists. But what 12-hour cold medicine do pharmacists recommend even more? Drixoral, the pharmacist's favorite.
A lot of people are really going to feel the cold this winter, so add an extra layer of Owens Corning pink insulation. Owens Corning, we put your house in the pink.
This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by AT&T, the right choice. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, and Tim McCarver. Game 7 of the World Series. Tom Brunansky leads off for the Twins with the Cardinals on top 2-1. And he hits it in the air to shallow left field. Coleman comes charging in, puts it away. 1 pitch and 1 gone. And it will bring up Kent Herbeck. All of the scoring in the 2nd inning. The Cardinals with 4 singles for their 2 runs. And then the Twins, a hit batsman, and then 3 singles to net 1 run. And they also had what would have been the tying run thrown out at the plate when Don Baylor was cut down. I say would have been the tying run. That would have been the first run, and then they subsequently scored. And Herbeck, of all things, bunts to try to get on, and he's out. Lefty against lefty, and even though he took Daly deep yesterday, he was struck out by McGrain in the 2nd, and he figured he would try to cross him up.
Well, excellent play by McGrain. 6-6, bounces off the mound. You can see where Lawless is playing. He gets a better bunt down, but you work on this all spring, and pays off in the 7th game of the World Series. Not an easy play. You got to turn around and wheel, pick up the first baseman. Herbeck does not run that well, and he makes an excellent throw to Lindemann.
So 2 down, bases empty in the bottom of the 4th inning. Laudner, the hitter. McGrain has almost gotten Herzog where he wants to be because he was deathly afraid of McGrain getting bombed early, and then he would have had to go to Cox or Tunnel, and he didn't want to do that early on. Now he's almost to the point where he can count on Cox for an inning or 2, and then you got Daly and Laurel. But an early knockout might have been disaster for the Cardinals.
Well, he said his biggest problem all year has been middle relief, and I think it maybe bothers as you look at Danny Cox. only 2 days rest. You really don't know how he's going to feel, but the desire is there, so you might see him later.
2-1. Whitey telling us before the game that everybody on the roster is available but Greg Matthews, the left-hander, and John Tudor, the left-hander.
And Tom Pagnozzi has a touch of the flu, but he's available. And the Twins are all healthy. 3-1. Starting Game 7 as rookies, you go back to Stottlemyre, the last to do it in '64 for the Yanks. Joe Black, who spent most of his career as a relief pitcher with the Dodgers, started a 7th game in '52. Bardozzi comes up. He singled in the 2nd inning. And yesterday he was 3 for 4.
Steve's brother Chris, a second baseman in the New York Yankee chain, 21 years old, and at the game this evening, as are his parents.
His parents look like his brother and sister.
They really do.
Laudner with no speed. Lindemann can afford to play behind him. Puts it away to end the 4th inning. At the end of 4, still 2-1 Cardinals. Back after this word from your local station.
Every week, more people get their news from ABC News than any other source.
We try to look at the world with a very exacting eye.
Expect the world of ABC News.
Wow, Jay, some guys are sure in a hurry to get to the airport. Guess he doesn't know about Hertz' new instant return. With Hertz, you don't have to rush to return your car. Because now Hertz gives you your receipt right at your car.
So you have everything you need to do your expense report.
I'll have your receipt right away.
It's too bad he didn't know about Hertz instant return.
Now at Hertz, you can rent a T-Bird for just $39.90 a day, or a Lincoln Town Car for just $44.90.
It takes a team to build a city, and it takes a team to keep it growing. Around here, our team includes economic development experts from your light company. Working together, we're creating new jobs in space commercialization, medical science, petrochemicals, and other industries. In other words, we're creating a future worth working for, a future that's a little brighter for you.
Get ready. Company's coming.
Where? You'll be here when?
Before those unexpected holiday guests
this.
drop by, get your
Let's
house ready
go.
and save big now at Furrow. Get this carefree faucet with interchangeable handles, $68.97. And there's more. 175-watt mercury vapor security light, $18.44 after rebate. And great savings on our entire selection of medicine cabinets. Before company comes, get ready and save big at Furrow.
Don't do it yourself without us.
Furrow.
I'm Debbie Johnson. In the news, an agreement has been reached between Oilers owners and HSA officials that will keep the franchise in Houston.
I'm Jim Rosenfield. The Catholic Diocese of Galveston, Houston denies traditional weddings for couples who live together before marriage. Join us after the game.
You know, before the game, we talked about the mood before a 7th game. It's a tight game. What is the mood in the dugout in the middle of a tight 7th game?
I think apprehension. I mean, the trend here in this World Series has been big innings, and they've both been able to stay away from it. Looks like this is going to be the first game that may be decided by 1 run, something we haven't seen.
I think the most relaxed guys in the ballpark are the guys on the field.
Fifth inning. And Lawless, the number 8 hitter, to be followed by Lake and Coleman. 2-1 St. Louis. Lawless flied out in the 2nd inning. Frank Viola, who has shut down the last 7. Lawless pops it up, and it's Herbeck in foul territory.
back in the second inning, he gave up 4 base hits, almost all of them on strikes in the strike zone. Now he has stayed out of the strike zone, thrown enough strikes to get ahead, and they are expanding the strike zone. That ball is almost over Lawless's head. So he's throwing well, and they're expanding the strike zone, and it's been a good result for Frank Viola and the Twins.
Steve Lake now. Did a nice job along with Pagnazzi earlier in the season. They picked up Tony Pena to solve their catching problems, and then Pena got hurt in April. And it was Lake and Pagnazzi who did a lot of good early work to get the Cardinals off and flying. 1-1.
A lot of hitters do that, and they do it and check for hairline fractures. Usually you do that on the handle, because you can actually hit when a bat is splintered a little bit, but not a lot.
That's the end of that bat.
Speaking of splinters.
Yeah. On a grounder to second. A broken bat. Ground ball to Lombardozzi. 2 down. Viola has set down 9 in a row after a tough second inning. And up comes Coleman with 2 down.
Well, he can pitch so much like the entire pitching staff was able to pitch all year. The minute they get Jeff Reardon, 31 saves, and Baron Gare, you know as a starter, you go out there, pitch your 6-7 strong innings. If your team can hit like the Twins can, you have a good chance of winning a ball game, something they couldn't do last year.
1-0 on Coleman. 2 out, bases empty in the top of the 5th. And Whitey, I don't know if Whitey is superstitious or not, but he eschews the patio furniture.
Yeah, and 29 runs scored in 3 games. I'd move too.
And we've never seen Whitey in an empty chair. Strike. 1-1. Now think about Whitey through the years. We have seen him when we saw him in his beach furniture here earlier in the series, and he's always standing against that wall in St. Louis. Different seat tonight. 1-2.
This is normally not a good play with 2 out, nobody on. But if Coleman gets on first base, the chances of him getting the second are great. So that's why a bunt with 2 out, nobody on for a guy like Vince Coleman is a pretty good play. If Tim Laudner did it, or Jim Lindemann or somebody, it would be a bad play.
Frank Viola has set down 10 in a row at the end of 4.5. 2-1 win. The St. Louis Cardinals lead 2-1.
Success Stories, brought to you by Citicorp.
The Yankees won 6 world titles in the 50s and hoped for more championships in the 60s. Despite New York victories of 16-3, 10-0, and 12-0, a determined Pittsburgh team forced the Yankees to a 7th game. With the score tied 9-9 in the bottom of the 9th, Pittsburgh's Bill Mazeroski homered on Ralph Terry's second pitch for a dramatic win. The Pirates had survived the Yankees' onslaught and succeeded in bringing Pittsburgh its first world championship in 35 years.
Because Citicorp understands the drive to succeed, to do more than just get by, we've become the nation's largest financial services company, already helping 1 in every 5 American families, with more student loans, more home mortgages, more MasterCard and Visa cards than any other company. Citicorp and Citibank. We'd like you to get to know us better. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
This winter, one antifreeze will guarantee your radiator. Use new Prestone Advanced Formula after Prestone Super Flush. And should our protection fail, we'll pay for your radiator repairs. Prestone, the antifreeze that guarantees your radiator.
They're going to California for the weekend.
It's a frequent flyer thing, 40,000 miles, and they both fly free.
I've got 40,000 miles. We're going to the mall.
Some airlines make you fly nearly 40,000 miles for 1 free trip. On Northwest, you get 2.
I'll get it, Alex.
Mel's Market. Here's your order.
What order?
Side of beef.
I didn't order.
Here's your delivery, sir.
What delivery?
Your Stroh's 30 packs.
Stroh's. Alex?
Nah. Stroh's and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste. And with 30 packs, you get more beer.
Pardon? Gear Pet Shop. Here's your poodle.
Oh, Alex.
Almost everybody says in both the American and National League you can't pitch high. This is 4 out of the last 7 Cardinal hitters. Jim Lindemann, Willie McGee. Take a look at Tony Pena. And to end it, Vince Coleman. Tell that to Frank Sciola, as we saw the sign in the stand say. In the running for the Cy Young Award in the American League, along with many others.
In the running, but the votes are in. Yes. Just haven't been announced yet. Dan Gladden takes inside. 1-0. Gladden, Gagne, and Puckett, bottom of the 5th inning, and Danny Cox is throwing in the pen. On the leadoff man. McGrain has faced 18 men through 4. It means he's going through the lineup now for the 3rd time.
One of the big advantages, even though Gladden has hit a grand slam home run, 3-1 with a 1-run lead, you have to challenge the hitter. So you throw it to the middle of the plate, hope you get a strike, and he did.
Smith, and that's as good as gold. 1 out.
It is gold.
Midas touch, you say?
Well, it's so obvious after seeing him play 7 consecutive games. He just plays so differently than other shortstops. Acrobatically, jumping over runners, threw from midair the other day.
Gagne with 1 out. Gagne has struck out twice. To the right side, confusion by Lindemann. McGrain covers, and no, safe. McGrain thought he was there. Wire says no. Lindemann didn't know which way to go. He started to first, then he went for the ball. He didn't know where to be.
And then he complicates it with a bad throw. It's behind Joe McGrain, and McGrain has to reach back for the ball, and then he can't find first base, or at least it didn't appear that he found it. See right here, he breaks right away. Sinker down and in. There you can see him moving. You're taught to do that in spring training. Any ball to the right side. Now, watch where the throw is. Left-handed, should be on that side. Right there, he doesn't look like he sees the bag, and when he gets there, if he ever does, Gagne's across the bag. See, he can't see it. If the throw was out in front of him, he would have had a chance to catch it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like he did touch it.
Well, he did, but and the replay shows it, but it wasn't done the proper way. So what you do is you give Lee Wire a confused look. Instead of just going over there and making it routine. Now watch this. He's moving, talking about Lee Wire. He's looking at the play, but it's not exactly a kick the bag and get off the bag like you're supposed to do. He made the play very difficult, but the play should have been called.
Well, Jim Lindemann made it difficult.
Yes.
McGrain did everything he could to make it well, and he's out of there.
It's a confused look and a hook. In comes Danny Cox with 1 out in the 5th.
Happy trails to... AT&T comes through with an advanced telemarketing solution. When a trucker's down, he needs service fast. But where does he find help in the middle of nowhere? That's why Goodyear turned to AT&T. Now a trucker just calls 1-800 number to reach the nearest service outlet. So he can get back on the road in no time at all. And sometimes, even sooner. From equipment to networking, from computers to communications, AT&T is the right choice.
Take me back where I belong. Take me where it's safe and warm.
The Goodyear Vector is the all-season radial that pumps water away to keep more tire tread on the road. And for some, that's a comforting thought.
Take me home. Goodyear, take me home. Never matters how far I go. Goodyear, take me home.
Thank you. You know, snacking's a big part of that TV football season, so let's kick off that season with some cheese, glorious cheese. Here's how. You slice some fruit, eat it with cheese during a game. Breadsticks, eat them with cheese during the game, or eat cheese plain during the game. Halftime, go to the store, stock up on cheese, eat it during the game. Till next time, I'm the Hasty Gourmet. Bye-bye.
Cheese, glorious cheese. Listen to the heartbeat.
When you want to go from freewheeling to 4x4 fun, Chevy S10 lets you do what Ford and Toyota can't. Shift and keep right on going with standard Instatrack.
The heartbeat of America. Chevy S10 today. Chevy truck.
Well, the responsibility right here, of course, is the throws a little bit behind him. It looks like the Tucson two-step. Tried to tag it with his right leg, brushes it with his left. Again, this is the pitcher's play to call. The minute the ball is hit, you yell, I got it, you take it. And the play develops late. It looks like he brushes the base and then argues with Lee Wire. Again, didn't give him a good look, but it did appear he was out.
Danny Cox now comes in to pitch on 2 days rest. He has not pitched in relief in 3.5 years. In his major league career, he has pitched twice in relief, both times in '84. Here's Puckett. Gagne at first, 1 out. Ripped toward the gap in right center field for extra bases, up against the fence. Gagne around third, on his way in. The game is tied on a double.
Kirby Puckett inside outfit. It's on the inside part of the plate. The barrel is snapped through, and he just hooks it away from McGee. The carom is the difference there because the wall does not allow the ball to come back to McGee. Gagne scores easily.
So tied at 2, Puckett at second, and here's Gaetti, who is 0 for 2. 0-1. Puckett at second, 1 out.
I'm really surprised that Whitey does not have somebody up, because if you're Danny Cox, you're going to tell him, and you can see that was on a high slider, you can see the graphic, you're going to tell him you feel great, but this is the day you usually throw between starts, not in the 7th game of a World Series.
Off his foot, foul ball.
The point I'm trying to make is you just don't know how you're going to feel. It's not something you've done before, at least not in recent years. So the will is there, but is the stuff there?
And Whitey has 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning. So he has at least 4 2/3 innings. And he's got Worrell and he has Daly. But later. Blocked by Lake.
Jim, I don't know of anybody who knows any better what it's like to be a starting pitcher and come in relief like you did in the '83 series.
Mike Rourke going for the phone. That's Todd Worrell, who we may see later, their #1 right-handed stopper, as Mike Rourke goes up with a lefty.
That will mean either Daly or Horton.
Right.
He walked him.
Well, I came in 83. I've been used in relief towards the end of the year. I remember a playoff game where I pitched one day and came back the next day and pitched actually better the day I relieved. But in this ballpark, a small park, if you don't know what kind of fastball you have and you're doing something that you're unaccustomed to, you end up walking guys. And when you walk guys, you have big innings. And every game in this World Series has been decided by big innings.
2-2. Daly gets up in the bullpen. With Puckett at second and Gaieti at first and Don Baylor at the plate. It gets away from Lake and he throws to third and they get him. Puckett delayed. Then he saw that the ball had gotten free, and by that time it hadn't gotten that far away from Lake. He's able to recover and throw him out.
And that was the key. Steve Lake couldn't find the ball. Had Kirby gone initially, possibly he would have made it. But watch Lake. The backhand, now he can't find it. Puckett thinks it has dribbled away farther than it actually had. He's an easy out at third.
Well, that's the toughest play for a runner when the ball is directly behind the catcher because he doesn't have any perspective.
And if your third base coach is trying to tell you to hold up, forget it. You can't hear anything.
That's right. Also, you look at Baylor, though. He's the guy that could help you. Right there, it goes behind him. So he's giving him a sign.
Yeah, you could help me, but if you've got to rely on a coach in a situation like that, it's too late. You've got to rely on your own instincts.
2-0 the count.
That ball looked like it came up and hit Davy Phillips, as a matter of fact. Otherwise, it probably rolls a little farther away.
Second. 2 down. Tied at 2 in the 5th.
Best time to nail a runner if you're a catcher is when there are 2 outs because the runner at second base is going on contact. Watch this ball come up and actually hit Davy Phillips. Otherwise, it's really a wild pitch, a legitimate one. Second, third, 1 out.
Side of the mask.
Yeah.
Baylor loops it into left field for a base hit. Roman charges. Here comes the throw home, and he is out. Lake holds the ball. Woo! What a play by Lake. You've got Gaieti coming in full speed, and nobody plays the game like Gaieti. And Steve Lake, charged and bruised and battered, but keeps the Cardinals tied at 2.
It's crunching in my mouth. It's super good.
In McDonald's, we're tossing salads fresh all day, every day.
The chef salad is super. The ham, the cheese, the turkey. You name it, it's got it here.
I could run in and get a salad, and kids could get hamburgers.
A chicken salad oriental. It's just like my grandmother would make.
Look at these big pieces of chicken. Look at that.
And it's always been fresh any time of day. It's so fresh. What more could you want?
Tossed fresh all day. Make McDonald's salads.
I'm going to eat a lot of them.
I'm here for some straight talk about the stock market. It's important to everyone.
It provides capital that creates jobs to make America grow. Emotions can run high during market turbulence, just when reason should prevail. We are confident in the markets. We've stayed active in them for all investors. America's economy is the strongest in the world with great ability to bounce back. At Merrill Lynch, we're still bullish on America.
You mad, Dad? Look, I didn't drive.
Terrific. You're drinking and underage.
But I called.
And that's a contract we signed. We'll talk tomorrow.
You are mad.
Greg, I'm scared. Scared of losing you. Your mom and me, we love you too much to lose you.
The Students Against Driving Drunk Contract for Life saves lives. It's available from Aetna.
Listen to the heartbeat
I'm not easily impressed.
of America.
I figured the new Beretta can't possibly drive as good as it looks. Well, it proved me wrong. Beretta's tuned sports suspension really handled the curves. It felt taut yet smooth and definitely sophisticated. Professionally, it's outstanding. Personally, I'm hooked.
The heartbeat of America.
Beretta.
That's today's Chevrolet.
The ball was not hit sharply. Now watch Gaetti come trucking home. Coleman, as we pointed out, charges the ball well, and a catcher, all he wants to do is get it in his bare hand. The catcher's mitt is not designed for a slap tag. That's why it's a remarkable play by Steve Lake. Oof. Gaetti has every right to nail Lake in that situation. Nothing else you can do.
Ozzie Smith, it's a pop-up caught by Gagne. One out in the top of the sixth, and Tommy Herr coming up.
Watch the bench after Gaetti goes in hard to Lake. Watch the Cardinal bench.
And Gene Gieselman leading the charge to make sure Lake was okay. The trainer, the first man out there. One gone. Tommy Herr takes inside ball one. Smelling salts, you betcha.
Another look as Lake does what he has to, and so does Gaetti. Reminds me of the 70 All-Star game Foss.
It's life. And he's feeling it. Schatziner. Schatziner to the lefty.
Herbeck, very quick. You're so surprised at how quick Ken Herbeck at 260 pounds or 50 pounds is. That's a tough play. You got to go around the runner to make the play. A lot more difficult than it appears.
One and two, one out. 2-2 on Lindemann with McGee to follow.
Appears to me, Tim, that he's really trying to be careful with Lindemann. You throw a fastball out over the plate. He had a home run swing. He's had 3 hits off him the last 2 games. Once again, as he has done to Tommy Herr, he's run the count to 2-2. Has to throw a strike or has to be around the plate.
Full count now on Lindemann with Herr at first base. I would suspect he'll be going.
Bet the ranch on it.
And he can run 19 stolen bases during the regular season and only been thrown out 4 times. So not only a pretty good base runner as far as speed, but in this situation you don't have to be too smart.
The one thing you have to do though here is make sure he pitches. Viola with a good move. It's up to the hitter to put the ball in play, similar to a hit and run.
He goes, and it's popped foul back out of play. So 3-2 on Lindemann. Cardinals got 2 runs in the second. Twins with 1 in the second, including a man thrown out at the plate in that inning, and 1 in the 5th, and another man thrown out at the plate.
And you can look for the second baseman to be covering. I would assume Herr will be going again. Lindemann has shown that he rarely hits the ball on the ground the other way. Therefore, the second baseman, Lombardozzi, should be covering.
Herr goes. Lindemann pops it up. And back out of play.
What makes it a little bit easier, I guess, from a pitcher standpoint, is that 3-2, 1 out, you have to throw a strike. So you take a little bit longer, and really at this point, you'll sacrifice a stolen base for not walking Lindemann. Not something you want to do, but the 3-2 count dictates that you have to come into the hitter. You cannot rush your delivery, try to get rid of the ball too quickly, and end up walking him and create the first and second situation.
Lombardozzi to Viola. Viola backed up on the play, and Hacker says, how can you possibly call him out? And here comes Herzog, and good luck with Whitey and Wire here with Lee hearing anything.
Well, I'll tell you, from the naked eye, there was no way that Herr was out. But on the other hand, there is no way Tommy Herr can get picked off. As we mentioned earlier, it's up to the hitter to put the ball in play. And Tommy gets nailed here. You've got to make sure the pitcher goes home. What we said a couple of pitches ago. But he is clearly safe. Herbeck almost, that's interference on top of it. He should be awarded second base. 2 times.
Absolutely.
A fielder cannot block the base paths without the ball. So you have interference, and he's safe.
Outside of that, no problem.
As safe as there are months in a year.
12 of them. After a controversy-free first 6 games, we've had enough for an entire series tonight. Fly ball off Lindemann's bat to Bernansky. End of a wild top of the 6th. Still 2-2.
Kurt?
IBM presents You Make the Call. With a count of 2 strikes on a batter, a pitcher takes too long to throw the ball. The batter asks for time and steps out of the box just as the pitcher appears to throw the 3rd strike. Is the batter out? You make the call.
7 years ago, McNeil Hospital was perceived as a sick institution. Part of the cure was a new information system.
We chose IBM. Our relationship with IBM has been very much a partnership.
Let's check first.
We depend on their equipment and their software 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The computer has freed the nurse from doing paperwork to doing patient work.
Oh, I like that smile. Isn't that a nice smile?
You're in good shape, kid.
A batter can ask for time anytime he pleases, but only the umpire can grant his request. In this case, he clearly didn't. So if you said the batter was out, then you made the right call.
Well, Bob, here it is. Top of the ninth, 2 out. Kaminsky's at bat.
And here's the pitch. Uh-oh, that ball's going. You can kiss that, baby. Holy cow, it hit the Sproles billboard in right field.
I know that 30-pack is big.
But, Jim, would you look at the size of that billboard?
I know, Bob. That's what Kaminsky was looking at. And look who just got tagged out at second.
The Stroh's 15 and 30-pack. With more cans in every case, what more could you ask for?
Mr. Belvedere's back on primetime.
Hey, guys. Who's a dummy?
I was just about to ask the same question.
And Brian Keith returns to television.
Daughter certainly is outgoing. Mind if I take a crack at her?
He's one professor who makes history come alive.
All right, yes.
Thomas Jefferson, Magic Johnson, and introducing Paul Provenza. Oh. The Pursuit of Happiness premieres Friday following the return of Mr. Belvedere.
Tommy Herb picked off on a 3-2 pitch. That's one thing that went wrong. Now watch the others as far as the rundown play is concerned. Herbeck, without the ball, illegally blocking her. Her should be awarded second base, and the tag by the pitcher Viola is late, and Wire, add insult to injury, calls him out. And on top of that, Viola may have balked on his throw over there.
The hat trick.
2 of them.
Well, Lombardozzi held it too long. Herbeck blocks Lee Wire. You won't see it right now. There's the interference. Viola doing his best. He's saying, why am I in? Right there, you see the blockage. He can't see what happened.
Blocked out on top of it.
Viola says, I don't want to be in this play.
Neither did Lee, I think.
Neither did Tommy.
Oh.
1-0 the count on Brunansky. 2-0. And the thing about the crowd here is so loud, that's the type of play where if Herzog can be heard, he's out there a lot longer.
I'm not too sure that Whitey was arguing about interference. I think he was arguing about the out call. If he's arguing about interference, he may have asked for help from Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire, who had a better view.
2-0 pitch is a strike. It's futile, though. It's ridiculous to attempt to have an argument with somebody here. You just can't hear a man standing next to you.
Could go inside.
Yeah, right. Step in here, sir. Faced 3 men, gave up a double to Puckett, walked Gaetti, and gave up a single to Baylor, and only got out of the inning because Coleman threw Gaetti out. And he walks him. So he has yet to retire a man on his own, and Herbeck comes up.
Well, what you said early in the pre-game show is so true. Cox is facing a guy that's got as many home runs as the entire Cardinal team, 32, and you don't know what you have. You know the guy can hit a home run. You're trying to make your pitch, and he's been unable to do it so far.
He faced Brunansky with 32, and now he faces Herbeck, who had 34 during the regular year. Struck out, grounded out.
28 of them off right-handers. 20 in this ballpark. A couple more numbers.
Rourke nodding, and the nod means as Whitey faces activity in the pen. And it might be Worrell who gets up. 2-0. And it is. It's Todd Worrell. And here comes Rourke. One advantage that Herzog has in a game like this, as opposed to a game in the National League Park, if he does go with Worrell and it's early, he doesn't have to worry about hitting for the pitcher. With a DH, you just go through the lineup, of course, so you can leave him in as long as he's strong.
Well, another advantage is he has Ken Daly behind Worrell, and Daly is better against right-hand hitters, at least a lot of the twin right-handers hit better against righties than they do lefties. So the matchup that seems something you don't want to really cause shouldn't affect them that much.
On top of that, Worrell may be used to get out of this inning and work maybe one more before they make a move, because really you can make a case for this being a very big inning. If they score here, the Cardinals a tough time playing catch-up ball. So maybe he's using him as a short man, even though it's the 6th inning.
Bernansky at first, and the pitch is a change for a strike. 2-1 on Herbeck. 2-2 tie. Bottom of the 6th. Nobody out. Three and one.
Well, that's back-to-back changeups, and the last time Cox threw 3 back-to-back changeups. Randy Bush with the bases loaded back in game 2 hit a double down the right field line.
First and second.
I think you may see Steve Lake go out and talk to Cox again. Yep, that's what Whitey just told him to do, and there he goes. You got to buy time right now. Worrell hasn't been warming up that much.
The whole infield is going to help buy some time here. And also they've got to discuss all the possibilities with first and second and nobody out, and you've got to get that close to be heard. That's a tight-knit group.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that Cox is a better fielder than Worrell. Whitey's going to make the move here. Worrell is not one of the better Cardinal fielders. Very tall. Cox a much better fielder. So Todd maybe can run it with a bunting situation when he gets in there.
But I think Whitey feels Cox just doesn't have it. He's walked 3, he's given up a single and a double, and he can't go any longer. And Danny says, hey, man, I tried my best. And there's a few words for the umpire as well.
Until we meet. Good old Dad. Mr. Advice. He had advice on everything. Marriage, jobs, even insurance. Work with the best in the business, he'd say. Work with Aetna. Aetna for your house, car, life insurance. It was his way of saying, I love you. Mr. Advice. Now I really need advice. Because today, Dad, you became a grandfather.
These are the halls of medicine. And within these halls, you'll find comfort for a sore and scratchy throat. A way to quiet a hacking cough. And a feeling of relief for a stuffy nose. Because these halls are real medicine with vapor action to bring you fast relief for your cold. These
first with the first baseman charge.
1 ball, 2 strikes. He swings away, pops it up in foul ground, playable for Lindemann. A big out. A big out. Still runners at first and second. Brunansky is the go-ahead run. And Herbeck at first. And now Lombardozzi is being called back. And they will go to the bench. And it will be Roy Smalley on his 35th birthday. There's Gladden, who will be next. And Smalley now, the switch hitter, coming up.
One for 2 in this World Series. Both the bats off Worrell. Fly ball the other night in St. Louis. Double here in the second game to left center field. So he's seen Worrell. He knows how hard he throws. He's seen the movement of the ball. And still, I don't know if that's good enough preparation, because we're talking about a guy that can throw.
So Smalley coming up. Smalley is a switch hitter. He had 275 during the regular season. As a left-handed batter, he had 277. He very rarely comes up right-handed. He was at the early stage of the year the left-handed DH on a full-time basis. But now he comes off the bench.
Matter of fact, I take it back. He did get the double here, but he's the one that hit the ball that Lindemann booted. Hit the ball very hard off Worrell that took a short hop and went by Lindemann into right field. Could have been a base hit, but they scored it as an error. So hit the ball sharply both times up. He knows that Smalley is an excellent fastball hitter, but you would think best against best. Don't want to get hurt with your third best pitch in this situation.
Half swing, 2-2.
You're wondering why you swing at a bad pitch. As a hitter, you have to get the bat started. We saw early in the game all the high pitches that Viola was throwing. Get the bat started, you can't stop it once you see the ball zoom out of the strike zone.
Two and two on Smalley with 2 on, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning. A 2-2 tie. In on it. So the count is full.
How do you send the runner? I wouldn't.
I don't. Jim?
No, not at all. Strikeout pitcher, catcher Lake that can throw. Smalley, first one to admit that if he doesn't play a lot, he strikes out more than he usually does.
They go. High, ball 4. They're loaded. second base is the pinch runner for Smalley. Bases loaded, 1 out. Cardinal infield double play depth. Hooking foul.
You see Pena right there talking about the ball being up with Worrell. I said Steve Lake, I beg your pardon. Talking about the ball being up. And what's got to concern Whitey Herzog is the fact that Gladden can get around on that high fastball and pull it foul. No damage, but that means he's not throwing as well.
1-1, snap throw to Lindemann. Newman back.
Well, I believe that one of Todd Worrell's strength is more velocity than movement. So it's a matter of timing. And if he gets the ball in the middle of the plate, he's not going to be as effective. He'll tell you the more I pitch, the better I pitch. And he has not been used that often in the last couple of days.
One and two.
That's how a guy like Worrell is going to get you out with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Pop you up or strike you out. It's rare that he gets a lot of double play balls.
Brunansky, the go-ahead run at third. Herbeck at second. The pinch runner Newman at first. Got him. He chased it for the second out.
We talked about the fastball. Now look at the slider, second better pitch. Very tight. As we said, a slider slides. It looked like it's a fastball. You go out to hit it, and it slides away from you and down. Of course, he set him up with about 496 miles per hour fastballs, 95, whatever.
So your second pitch becomes your best pitch.
It did then.
Gagne up and in. We're talking about sliding. What about Lake on that last play and the pressure on a Steve Lake right now?
Well, he has had some physical pressure on him twice. One from Don Baylor and the other from Gary Gaetti.
One and one. Bases loaded, 2 down. Brunansky, Herbeck, Newman. Two and one. Rourke, good luck being heard above this den.
Telling Tom Lawless may go into the dugout.
Lawless had to call time. Lawless has to go tell something to Worrell. Maybe Tom saw what Rourke was trying to say.
And the only guy who could, for whom he would get his attention, was Tom Lawless. There's Lawless saying, me? All right, just a second.
Again, it does come back to communication, whether it's fly balls. It's just difficult to communicate here. You have to have your head in the dugout, which is somewhat of a distraction.
Again, a right-handed pitcher can't see over the Cardinal dugout.
Two and two. 2-2. Three walks in the inning. Bases loaded, 2 out, 2-2 tie. And they pick up the tradition down in the pen because the ringleader, Newman, is at first base. Full count, the runners will go. Ground ball. Wallace stabs it. Throws a one-hopper. Too late. Twins lead.
See Greg Gagne on the fist, and then Wallace makes an excellent play, saves 1 run, nosedive. We talked about his lack of arm strength. You should look at it from another angle. Saves 1 run right here, but makes the only throw he can on 1 hop. Gagne well across the bag.
You know, Jim, with the runners running and Newman's speed, he might have saved 2 runs with that play.
Twins and Puckett coming to the plate.
What a ball game.
What you have to do. I mean, he's got 5 out of his last 6 at bats. He's gotten hits and he's hit the ball sharply. But again, what they've done the last 2 days is throw him strikes. First 5 ball games, they didn't throw Kirby too many strikes, similar to what we just saw.
Strike 2.
Put that theory to the test. You cannot throw a strike on this pitch. A high fastball, a slider away.
Just off the plate, low and away. You got to go to extremes, but you got to relax and let the ball go. You don't aim it.
1-2.
Again, we're talking a guy with 28 home runs. We haven't seen any power in postseason play with the exception of that line drive to center. But he can turn on a ball, something he couldn't do 2 years ago.
That is back out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Morrell took something off it.
Well, it's that slider they struck Gladden out on. Now, again, we talked about it yesterday. A lot of times you'll get a breaking ball up, but it'll be up just high enough where the hitter thinks he can hit it, but he can't. That ball a little bit lower, we're talking 4 runs.
Foul tip held by Lake strike 3. They get a run to take the lead. 3-2 Twins after 6. Back after this from your local station.
22,000 strong, they'll race through the 5 boroughs of the Big Apple. Live, it's the New York City Marathon next Sunday on ABC Sports.
13, 14,
Your
15.
8 Houston area Nissan dealers are having a factory cash bonus clearance sale. Get a $600 cash bonus on new 87 cars in stock. Get $1,000 on new 87 Nissan trucks. It's cash from the factory, so hurry. This offer will be gone sooner than you can count to. Wow! North Freeway, Sam Weiss, Steeplechase, Chris Turner, David McDavid, Joe Myers, Yoakum, Tom Gray.
Between meetings and practice when nobody was looking, my buddies and I used to sneak over to the Whataburger near the stadium. Some of my teammates could eat 6 in one setting. They were always hot and fresh, and they'd always make them just the way I loved them, with lots of everything. 'Cause to me, a burger's just not a burger without lettuce and tomato. I remember that a big part of being a cowboy was chowing down at Whataburger. But now, instead of 6, I can only tackle about 3.
Do I miss cocaine? Well, I don't miss being broke all the time. And I don't miss knowing that even just one hit could literally stop my heart. I went straight, and you can too. Just call this number. They can help you. Consider this. Cocaine is lethal. Quit while you can.
A message from HCA Health Call.
I'm Jim Rosenfield. Harris County Judge John Lindsay says a deal is in place to keep the Houston Oilers in Houston.
I'm Debbie Johnson. Louisiana Governor Edwin Edwards concedes defeat in his bid for a 4th term.
Join us after the game.
This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. 7th inning, a few things to mull over after this one.
In the 2nd inning, Don Baylor attempting to score on a base hit by Loudner. Now watch the high tag by Lake. Baylor was called out. In the 5th inning, Greg Gagne, a tapper right side to Lindemann. The throw behind McGrain, but watch McGrain clearly touch first base. Gagne calls safe. Herr in the top of the 6th inning. The rundown play. Interference on Herbeck. Herr safe at first. Herr was called out.
And all that through 6 as we go to the 7th. 3-2 Minnesota. Willie McGee, then Pena and Oquendo. Frank Viola, and he's been on the bench a long time. That was a very, very long bottom of the 6th inning. One and one. Newman at 2nd, and he's in the number 9 spot. Brunansky all chasing it, but they can't make the play.
Ken Herbeck, he knows there's mounds. He looks right there at those, goes around, knows the configuration here. Almost gets to the ball, hits off the railing, and Al Newman with a spectacular play, but it doesn't count.
How about that? Well, this is a weird game, I'm telling you. Newman made the catch off the fence. Yeah.
That's hit sharply to short. Gagne backs up, guns him down. One down in the 7th inning. And Pena comes up.
Newman, he makes the catch off the wall, and now he wants it.
Well, after what he's seen all night, you know, he figures anything might go.
That's right, yeah.
season started, in spring training, he was, without question, the most anonymous manager in the major leagues. I mean, even fans who follow baseball pretty closely were stumped when you said, who's managing the Twins? I think we know about him, along with a few million others now.
Of course, being young has really been a tremendous boon to the Twins, because they say he's one of us.
It's a boon to anybody.
Yeah, being young, yeah.
Some of them call him coach. Strike. 1-1.
Coach Kelly. Relying on that fastball, and as we've seen, been able to stay out of the strike zone with it. The changeups have come late in the game, so he's really been able to go to another pitch, something he didn't have in that second inning when they got 4 hits.
3-1. Curveball in the bullpen. It's Berenguer and Schatzeder.
When you look at the Cardinal bench, Tommy Lawless can't wait to get up there after that 3-run home run off by Ola. He may not face him. I think that curveball is directly responsible. What you said about Tom Kelly, 2-1 pitch. The guy doesn't hit a home run. They said they wanted to throw him breaking balls. Now he's behind in the count, 3-1. Back with the changeup. I mean, think about it, Tim. You can't get beat till Pena gets on because you have a 1-run lead. So. I would think a guy with only 5 home runs, you'd want to go after him, or if you do, at least do it with a pitch you get over better than your curveball.
In the air to right field, deep. Brunansky back and plays it off the bottom of the fence. Pena on his way to second and in with a double. Tony Pena with his second hit. Tying run at second.
Pardon me, out fastball away, and one of the most impressive players against a right field wall. You mentioned Yaz last night at Fenway. I think that's an excellent example, because Brunansky not only fields the ball well, he barehands balls off the wall, and it is in position to throw.
I mean, something you said earlier in the series, Al, that he told you the trick is to play it off the 3, so he knows where to go.
Wasted motion.
Oh, no.
He barehands it in position to throw and at least makes it close.
And nobody knows that corner like Brunansky. He's played here since the park opened in '82. Oquendo 0 for 2. Strike.
They were going to move Brunansky to left field because that's the tougher field to play here. They got Gladden. He had shoulder surgery and his arm came back, so they put Brunansky where he plays so well. But if you look at the configuration here, it's much more room to cover in left field.
0-2. Anybody.
As is same thing that happened in the first game. 3 walks in the 5th game when he had trouble.
Struck him out.
And when he does, the first emotion we've seen, a little jump, a little skip. I tell you what, you get to the 7th inning of the 7th game of the World Series, you start counting outs if you're a pitcher. You take them one by one, but you start counting the outs. See the end of Oquendo being fooled by a changeup down and away after he set him up with a fastball on the inside part of the plate.
He's counting outs right now, and he's thinking about 7. 2 out in the 7th. Pena at second. Lawless 0 for 2 tonight. Foul away, out of play. 0-1. Lawless, the most extra of the extra men this year, all season with the Cards, came up 25 times, got 1 hit in August, and 1 hit the last day of the season, hit .080.
2. Viola still with that high fastball, and the Cardinal hitters just can't get on top of it.
And that's the pitch he homered on.
Yeah.
In Busch Stadium. So here's, perfect example of what you're saying. Just because a guy hits a fastball one time doesn't mean you go away from it. If you did, he wouldn't have enough pitches.
Pitches high, throw to Gaetti off the heel of his glove, and Pena is safe.
Oh, boy.
I don't understand it.
I don't
mean, it worked, but
some plays in baseball, even if they work, they're bad plays. Terry Pendleton did it twice yesterday, but Terry Pendleton's a guy who can run. If this is a good throw, he's out. And the Cardinals are out of a scoring opportunity. The first one since the second inning.
Hit the base.
Yeah.
Hit third base. He looked at Gaetti, who was playing very deep, and figured, why not? 1-2 on Lawless, who lines it to center field right at Puckett. At the end of 6 1/2, Minnesota 3, St. Louis 2.
There's an advanced new shape in heavy haulers. The smooth, rounded shape of aerodynamics to cheat the wind and put more power to work. You see it in big rigs and right out front in the advanced new full-size Chevy with standard Vortec V6. Enough standard power to tow over 58 tons of these big rigs and this Ford.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
These days, computers are spewing forth a sea of information. Yet it's harder than ever to find what you need without getting swamped. But at AT&T, we can help you stay afloat. We're working to combine computers and communications so you can get the right information to the right people at the right time. As easy as using the telephone. AT&T, the right choice.
Tums is one antacid that can really handle heartburn. It's a lot stronger than the #2 brand.
That's one good reason we use Tums. And Tums happens to be rich in calcium.
That's the second good reason.
For budget lodging, I call Comfort Inn at this number. For mid-priced lodging, I call Quality Inn at this number. For a luxury room at a Clarion Hotel or even Suites, I call this number. Call this number and make the quality choice.
Now you can enjoy all the memories of the 1987 World Series with a copy of the official World Series program. With more than 90 pages of facts and figures, it's a real collector's item. To order your souvenir program, just send check or money order for $6 to World Series Program, Post Office Box 87, Trenton, New Jersey 08651. That's Box 87, Trenton, New Jersey 08651. Please include your proper return address.
The preceding was furnished by Major League Baseball.
7th inning stretch. The Metrodome in Minneapolis. Gary Gaetti will lead off. He involved in this play at the plate in the 5th inning.
No ill effects shown by Gaetti or Steve Lake. Of course, as you can see, Lake takes the brunt of it. Just holds on.
So here we go, bottom of the 7th. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver. Game 7 of the World Series. 3-2 Twins. Gaetti, Baylor, and Brunansky facing Todd Worrell in his 2nd inning of relief. Strike.
Tell you, when you think about it, this could have been a game that's out of control. Vince Coleman throws out 2 runners at the plate, and Tom Lawless makes that good play with the bases loaded with the runners running.
The shallow center, McGee gets a late start, comes charging in, makes the catch on the run. Willie plays a deep center anyway, and he caught that up near the heel of the glove.
fastball. Gaetti pops it up, and what is a routine play, as you see what Al was talking about, a long run for McGee. And right on the wrist, out of the glove and the wrist. Again, you just don't see it that well here.
Don Baylor, who got the losing share in last year's World Series. Looking for the big diamond now, 0-1.
What a career. I remember when he played with the Orioles, Earl Weaver said he will be a most valuable player at some point. And at that point, I just didn't think that he was going to be a pull hitter, hit a lot of home runs. 1979, 36 home runs, or excuse me, 39 home runs, 136 RBIs.
Fly ball to right. Oquendo looking up into the Teflon, makes the catch. 2 down. And Brunansky coming up. A reminder, next Sunday, the New York City Marathon. 22,000 runners, and the times at the bottom of the screen on ABC Sports. Brunansky singled, flied out, drew a walk. He has scored twice tonight. The other run was scored by Gagne. 3-2 Twins. Oh, 0-1. Looking ahead to the 8th inning, Whitey's crew will send up Lake, Coleman, and Smith. 9, 1, and 2. And in the bullpen for Minnesota, the Terminator, Jeff Reardon.
He usually terminates games. The Twins may be hoping he's terminating a season.
Well, Ralph, very impressive mixing up his pitches. Well, one of the constants of the Cardinals all through the year, and we saw it in the 5th game in Busch Stadium and tonight, is their defense. Not a great offense with Clark and Pendleton out, excuse me, but they keep you in the game with great defensive gems.
Two and 2. Laudner strapping up between Viola and Kelly. Popped up. Wallace circling, stays with it. Nothing's routine. To the 8th, still 3-2 Twins.
Belongs to Michelob. This is Whoopi.
Give me a kiss.
You better kiss this, honey.
This is Whoopi.
I've been shot. Yes, honey, I know I shot you.
This is Whoopi.
You have the right to remain silent.
This is really Whoopi. Whoopi Goldberg. What? Fatal Beauty, rated R. Starts Friday, October 30th. Check newspapers for showtimes.
What if things you never thought of in color were suddenly in color? That's how we thought of our new Delta faucets. They'll color the whole way you look at faucets, and maybe everything else. Delta washerless faucets, designs that last.
I love my puppy, my goldfish, and my daddy's shirt.
Van Heusen, for a man to wear and a woman or even a little girl to borrow.
That cool, refreshing feeling of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum puts a sparkle in your eye, a spring in your step, and makes things lots of fun.
It's that little lift from Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. It's that little lift. Come on and
get you some. That clean, fresh taste Wrigley Spearmint's got. That little lift that means a lot. It's that little lift from Wrigley Spearmint Gum.
Funny, in this age of instant gratification, if you don't have your socks knocked off early on, everybody says, oh, the World Series is pretty dull. And it takes a few games for it to build, and then you get to this point, like last year.
It takes some time as the music that was playing between innings twist and shout. It takes some time for things to build up to that crescendo, and this game certainly has not disappointed anybody.
It's got my attention.
And the series, too. Yesterday's game, today's game. Here we go, 8th inning, with Lake leading off and fouling it away. 9-1 and 2 for the Cardinals. Lake, Coleman, and Smith. The president of the American League on the far left, Bobby Brown. And his opposite number, Bart Giamatti, also in the ballpark, along with the commissioner. The Twins 6 outs from the title. Broken bat, little roller, Gaetti for Herbeck. Lake is gone, 1 down, and Coleman comes up.
And so is his bat as Gaetti gobbles up this ground ball. We've told you all series. Gold Glover last year, most likely win another one. Great power hitter, and he gets the first out here in the 8th inning.
Carl Pohlad and his family, owner of the Twins. Coleman 0 for 3. Time call, the beach ball loose in the outfield.
I'll tell you, I think the reason Frank Viola is still in this game, he's still throwing the ball well, yes, but Coleman is from the right side is 0 for 10. Ozzie Smith 0 for 8. Neither Smith or Coleman have a hit as a right-handed hitter. If Reardon were in there, they'd be hitting left-handed, of course.
Foul back, 0 and 1. 1 out in the 8th inning.
Plus, if they do get on, you have 150 stolen bases between the two. And Jeff Reardon, they've stolen 8 for 8 against him this year, and obviously much easier to run on than Frank Viola.
Brunansky charging in. There, makes the play. 2 down. Smith, the batter. There it is, lowest regular season percentage. Oakland in 74, 556. The Twins well below that this year at 525.
Just barely foul. Gaetti not on the line. But then again, I don't believe that's where Smith's going to hit. That was a mistake. So playing the percentages.
Weak grounder to Newman. 7.5 gone. 3-2 Minnesota.
Hello. With the World Series here, Ed is offering some baseball tips. When the third base coach is acting like Ed is, it is not because of a nervous condition. He is telling the batter what to do. And if the game isn't going too well, he will make a different kind of signal. He is saying, the heck with this. Let's get out of here and enjoy a cold, frosty bottle of the Bartles & James Premium Wine Cooler. Well, we hope you will do that too. And thanks for your support.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
It's the rhythm of the road. It's the pulse on the street. Pulse on the street. City and town, magic sound.
If you want the adventure of it all, put yourself in today's Chevy S10 Blazer and listen to your heartbeat.
That's today's Chevy truck. Wherever there's a light shining in the night, we'll be there. GE is light, warm and bright. Wherever there's a moment and a dream inside, GE is light, we'll be there. Things to
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Burger King introduces a new burger with a genuine Western flavor. The Bullseye Barbecue Burger. 2 flame-broiled burgers on a Western bun with melted cheese, sizzling bacon, and topped with a smoky Western-style barbecue sauce. The Bullseye Barbecue Burger won't be around for long, so get it while you can. You only have to ride as far west as Burger King. The best food for fast times.
Bottom of the 8th inning. The Metrodome is rocking. And that is a redundancy. The Metrodome has been rocking for a couple of weeks. Kelly with Viola between innings. You know, you wonder when he strikes that sort of pose, is he telling him, hey, you've given me everything you have. I may go with Reardon in the ninth? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you turn her around. You got to make them make a move with Lindemann, with Reardon, a right-hand hitter versus right-handed. And McGee, of course, he's hitting well from both sides. So now you're going with a guy that got you here. Well, of course, Viola had a lot to get him to the ninth, too.
Bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Minnesota. Herbeck leads off. They'll be followed by Laudner and Newman. In the 9th inning, Herr, Lindemann, and McGee for St. Louis.
Of course, it's a moot point if Worrell doesn't do his job and contain the Twins in the bottom of the 8th. And he knows that. We know it. Now you at home know it.
2-1 on Herbeck. The hands and countenance of John Tudor. Started to break toward the ball and now gets back to the bag for the out. 1 away. So Herbeck is taken care of. Tim Laudner comes to the plate. Daly, earplugs. He's heard enough. He heard a crack of the bat yesterday. He didn't like Herbeck, and here comes Reardon. So what we suspected, I think, is true. Kelly telling Viola, hey, man, you were great, but I'm going with Reardon in the ninth. Strike, 1-1.
And he let him pitch the 8th because he worked to Ozzie Smith. Might see Ozzie Smith and Vince Coleman. You might see Terry Pendleton pinch hitting for Jim Lindemann in the 9th inning. Possibility.
Yep, that's the one thing that Herzog has going for him. His whole bench now is left-handed, basically. Pendleton is switch hitter, but as you know, he can't hit right-handed because of the rib injury. Bert will give you that look on April 7th and October 25th. It doesn't matter. Base hit. Lautner at first, one down. Al Newman. And the man who could only sit and watch, Clark.
I think he wouldn't have liked to have been able to hit in this ballpark.
Newman bats for the first time in the game. As a left-handed batter, he hit 178 this year. Hits it in the air. Coleman was playing him to slice anyway and makes the catch in foul territory. So 2 down. And Dan Gladden, who is 0 for 4 tonight, coming up. Ken Herbeck, born here, raised here, and now trying to be part of a world championship team here.
The Twins had tried to score 3 runners tonight at home plate. The first 2 were nailed. The third one, Tim Lautner, could have been nailed were it not for the in-between hop thrown by Tommy Herr. Good play by Rick Rennick, the third base coach, realizing it's 2 outs and you're going to take a chance.
You'll see a good throw would have gotten him. See the second short hop, Steve Blake unable to handle. You could see, obviously, if he comes up with these outs. So the man that really put game 1 away with a grand slam may have done it here in game 7.
Debris on the field is the reason for the delay.
It's really funny. Lautner would have been out by the biggest distance at home plate. The other 2 plays, bang, bang plays. If the throw's on the money, if Tommy Herr's throws on the money, Lautner's out by 4 feet. Maybe.
Gladden gets credit for a double, third on the throw, and a run batted in. 2 out. 0-1 on Gagne. The bunt, and it's 0-2.
Not a bad idea. We saw him try to push one to the right side earlier in the game.
Oh, struggling in this series with the bat. Apparently knows his own limitations. Probably a higher percentage play for him to try to bunt to get on against Todd Worrell than to swing away.
Straker. Johnson
Worrell dropping down. He hasn't been dropping down this season very much.
No, not at all. Of course, if he does and makes a good pitch, it's all over. It usually changes your rhythm.
Line drive, one hop to Tommy Herr, and that's that in the 8th. To the 9th, 4-2, Minnesota in Game 7.
I'm here for some straight talk about the stock market. It's important to everyone. It provides capital that creates jobs to make America grow. Emotions can run high during market turbulence, just when reason should prevail. We are confident in the markets. We've stayed active in them for all investors. America's economy is the strongest in the world with great ability to bounce back. At Merrill Lynch, we're still bullish on America.
Chic Plus has a lubricating comfort strip to give you a smooth touch, an easy touch that's more comfortable than ever.
A touch this easy makes me understand. When it comes to love, I want a slow hand.
The new Chic Plus for the easy touch.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise endures. The promise of genuine quality. Quality you can taste. Clean, crisp, Beechwood aged Budweiser. Always certain, always satisfying. Because we know you wouldn't have it any other way. That's why this Bud's for you.
Steve, the idea is to get it all the way here.
He's out by a mile.
MacGyver, Monday on ABC.
Daughter certainly is outgoing. Mind if I take a crack at her?
Brian Keith.
Yes!
And Paul Provenza, The Pursuit of Happiness, premieres Friday.
This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Merrill Lynch. Has ever won the 7th game of the series. 4-2 as we go to the 9th. Last year, when the Twins season ended October 5th, Frank Viola was the winning pitcher. He beat Chicago 3-0, and that meant the Twins wound up 21 games out of first in 6th, ahead of only Seattle in the American League West. A year later, they are 3 outs away from the World Championship, and Jeff Reardon to try to get the 3 outs.
And a man so responsible for them getting here, along with Gladden, Berenguer, the new players on the ball club this year. 31 saves, 35 last year. Montreal, 41 the year before. The only relief pitcher in the last 6 years has had over 20 saves. Fastball, curveball.
Herr, and then Kurt Ford is out on deck, and then McGee. 1-0 on Tommy, who is 1 for 3. Anything for a rally.
And if you think that run in the 8th inning wasn't important, consider the fact that you really take away the meaningful running attack of the Cardinals. They can still run, but it's not going to be the tying run unless 2 are on.
1-1.
Both off the line. That's another thing you can do when you have a more than 1-run lead in the 9th inning.
2-1.
We ran into Reardon in the catacombs of the stadium, and he said that inning he got yesterday he felt would help him. 3 2/3 inning in this World Series, 5 base hits. So the Cardinals have been able to get something going, but line drives up the middle, just making contact, what they do best.
field, shallow. Puckett on, 1 out. Kurt Ford bats for Lindemann.
Those odds, the Minnesota Twins were 150 to 1 before the season started to win the World Series.
And some thought that was too low. Phillips, just a slight twitch.
Little body language.
2-2.
Yeah, but good curveball like that, you can fool the ump. I mean,
that's true.
And what are you looking for here? He showed you both pitches. One's over 90 miles per hour. You got to look for the ball.
Herbeck will run out of room. 2-2 with 1 out, and the base is empty in the ninth. 4-2 Minnesota.
That's another thing that running the 8th did. It gives the pitcher the luxury of saying, here it is, hit it. It's a home run. It's still a 1-run ball game.
McGee to follow.
And this is what you're talking about right here, 3-2. Here, hit it. Middle of the plate. It happened to Todd Worrell in the playoffs. 2-run lead. Harry Spillman hit a home run. I don't like to give up home runs, but it's better than walking somebody with a 2-run lead.
Gaetti calling. 2 guys. McGee next. Looper in foul ground. Gagne has no play. 0-1. If McGee keeps it alive, Pendleton has come out on deck. He would be the tying run. Terry would bat for Pena. to Gaetti. For the first time ever, the Minnesota Twins are the world champions. come back.
Dwayne Eddy salutes the people who work with today's Chevy truck.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
We're not a
company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
The test of a great airline is not just how fast it moves you in the air, but how fast it moves you on the ground. That's why at some of the busiest airports in the world, United Airlines offers you the most advanced baggage systems, faster ticketing and boarding procedures, and the most spacious, convenient, efficient terminals in the business. United Airlines. From the ground up, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
We're as funky as we can be. Every Wednesday night. That's right.
Right here.
On your TV. We're perfect strangers. Friends like us.
Problems? All fit and ridiculous. Then it's headed to class.
We got straight in. We want to change the world. For us all that pays. Perfect stranger. Head of the class. Wednesday night on ABC. Ha! Gotcha!
As the game ended, this team, a consensus 4th, 5th, 6th place choice in the American League West, with a manager not named until 7 weeks had gone by in the offseason last year, with a 34-year-old general manager, Andy McPhail, a team that not long ago may have been headed elsewhere. Their future in Minnesota seriously in doubt. Small crowds, the depths of the standings, and now this.
And if you're looking for Tom Kelly in your picture, forget it. True to form, he said he would allow the players to celebrate on the field. He would wait on the bench, and that's what he did.
He told us he wouldn't be able to see this if he was out there.
That's right.
Tom Nieto on the left and Steve Lombardozzi on the right. And that says everything. The Metrodome still rocking. Viola beats Cox. And let's go to Reggie Jackson in the Twins locker room.
Thank you very much, Al Michaels. And an obvious World Series scene. You see the commissioner on my left, Carl Pohlad, the owner of the Minnesota Twins, here on my right, Bobby Brown, Dr. Bobby Brown, the president of the American League, Andy McPhail, the general manager, young fella here of the Minnesota Twins, and the youngest manager to win a World Series non-playing since John McGraw in 1905. Mr. Commissioner, will you present the World Series trophy to Mr. Pohlad?
Carl, and to the entire Twins organization, this is a very special thing. They told me a few years ago that they shouldn't have had baseball in Minnesota, and you've made it very real. It's a class organization. It was a great win. Congratulations to you, Colonel.
That thing's pretty heavy.
Thank you, Peter. On behalf of the entire Twins organization, on behalf of everybody in this upper Midwest area that supported us, it's just a great thrill speaking for the team and everyone here. And I just want to say I've never had a greater thrill in my life, and I'm sure that applies to the entire team and everybody else in the Twin City area.
There you go. Tom Kelly, what do you think of the owner here? What do you think of your trophy?
I'm very happy that Mr. Pohlad gave me an opportunity to manage these fine bunch of young men, and I'm very proud of the guys, the way they played. You know, the outstanding effort against the Tigers, very good ball club, and to beat the Cardinals, just an outstanding class organization. We have to feel very proud.
The thing I wanted to ask you, Tom, what did you say to Frank Viola in the middle of the 8th inning?
Well, I didn't want to take him out, but the way we've been going all season long, we didn't divert. In the 9th inning, Mr. Jeff Reardon gets the baseball, and that's the way we did it all year. Reardon's my man in the ninth. He gets the ball. That's all there is to it.
Outstanding. Mr. Pollard, let me ask you a question.
Thank you.
I know that you've had some...
There you go, got it.
You and Andy made it all.
All right. Way to go. Super.
Mr. Pollard, I know you've had some great thrills in your life. You can name it when it comes to buying things, but a World Series trophy is something that all the dimes or all the pennies you can save in the world you can't buy. What's your feeling today?
There's no way I can describe the feeling. I've been through many things in my life, pleasant and unpleasant. This is the greatest thrill, and the only way that you can really know how it feels is to be here, have it happen to you, and believe me, thanks to a great organization, Tom Kelly, Andy McPhail, and everyone else, it happened to us, and we're just grateful. We're grateful for the good Lord to let us come through all this, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am.
I know the guys love you. I know the fans love you. When we come back, we will come back and see the most valuable player trophy given to Mr. Frank Viola.
All right.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Way to go, Frankie.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
It's the rhythm of the road. It's Lost on the Street. City and town, magic sound.
If you want the adventure of it all, put yourself in today's Chevy S10 Blazer and listen to your heartbeat.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
That's today's Chevy truck.
We're not a company, but outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who'll become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Radio Shack's sale price Tandy 1000 TX brings the gift of a true high-speed business computer to your home affordably. PC compatible, easy to use, with 7 ready-to-run programs for the family. Keep a budget, write term papers, even create graphics or learn music. Save $250 on the high-speed Tandy 1000 TX, color monitor included, only $1249. Tandy computers, because there is no better gift value. Only at Radio Shack.
Every week, more people get their news from ABC News than from any other source. A powerful news organization respected around the world.
The television camera can take you far and wide. The television reporter is there to explain what you're seeing and why it's happening.
Expect the world of ABC News.
The Minnesota Twins, the World Series champions, 1987. The National League champions, the St. Louis Cardinals. And in their locker room is Gary Bender. Gary?
Al, thank you very much. With Whitey Herzog and Skipper, I understand you went over the Twins and congratulated them.
Well, sure. They played a great series, especially in this ballpark, and we had a good ball game tonight. We played about as good as we can play, and we've been very vulnerable to left-hand pitching ever since we lost Jack Clark and then lose Pendleton. And Viola pitched great, and he was a difference tonight because we got the 2 runs the second inning. We really never had anything else going. And, of course, Reardon come in and did what he's supposed to do. But they're an awful good ball club in this building.
Whitey, I'm curious. Controversy at first base. It happened in 1985. Was it so noisy out there you couldn't even plead your cause?
Well, we thought there was an awful lot of close plays, and Lee had a lot of close plays over there. And unfortunately, a few of them went against us, you know, but he's a good umpire, and I don't know. I mean, I really want to comment on something like that because I think that would take a lot of credit away from the Twins. And in all fairness, they had a better ball club than we did. The way we were crippled up, I'd like to play them at full strength, but it wasn't going to happen, so we had to play them best we could.
It's an amazing series. The home team won every game.
That's the first time in history. Of course, no team in history has had to play 4 games up here, and they're a great ball club, like I said, here, and it's amazing to me that they can't play better on the road.
I'm curious, you went 7 in '85, losing to the Royals that year. Your emotions now as opposed to 2 years ago?
Well, we thought we got something taken away from us in '85. We thought we had it 1-6, and it didn't turn out that way, and the 7th game was a nightmare with the things that happened. I felt awful bad about that. And today, this series, I mean, they won the 4 ball games they should have won. We won the 3 we should have won, and basically there's not much to say. And
As a manager, I'm glad to be in the World Series 6 times. I'd like to win all 3 of them, but we're 1-2, and I'd much rather be 1-2 than 0-3, but I'd like to be 3-0. But by the same token, you can ask Bud Grant this, who's one of the best coaches. I'd rather be 1-2 than 0-0.
Well, you wired this team together. You came through with a lot of injuries and still kept them in to the very bitter end.
Well, basically, it was almost amazing that we were able to hold on. When we had all the injuries early in the season, and I didn't think we were going to be able to keep our head above water. The guys just played great, and us guys we put in the lineup did a job. And then when our lead was down to a game and a half at 25 to go, the fact we lost Clark, he's a big asset to our ball club, and I didn't think we could hold on then. We did. We beat an awful good ball club in the playoffs. The Giants were hot. They got awful good pitching, a good young infield, and we were fortunate to come back and beat them. And then we had these guys where we wanted them. Only thing, we had them in the wrong ballpark, and we just couldn't get it done up here.
Going to go fishing for a while now?
Well, I'm going to Germany next week and take a little vacation.
All right, let's go now to Reggie Jackson back in the Twins clubhouse.
Thank you very much, Gary. Before we get on to the Most Valuable Player Award donated by Chevrolet in Major League Baseball, the commissioner has something he'd like to say.
Well, we just received a call from the President of the United States, and he congratulates us, the Twins and the whole organization, and invites the entire team to the White House for a ceremony in the next couple of days. They're looking forward to seeing the whole team and congratulate everybody. But I think we got a MVP here. Great pitcher, played very, very well. Frank Butler, we're proud of you, and Chevrolet MVP trophy. Why don't you go ahead?
Frank, do you think you can make it down to the White House?
I'll find time, believe me.
Here with me, Mr. Tom Stout, the General Marketing Manager for Chevrolet, to present the Chevrolet Major League Most Valuable Player Award. And Chevrolet, you know, the heartbeat of America. I think you became the heartbeat of the city of Minneapolis tonight.
Oh, it's a tremendous feeling. You know, MVP is a great, great honor, but I couldn't do it with without the other 23 guys, and they all should share in this.
Mr. Tom Stout?
Frank, you won the 2 big ones, the first one and the last one, and you truly led a team of destiny. And it's a great pleasure for us at Chevrolet to be able to present you this trophy as the most valuable player of the 1987 World Series. And we look forward to presenting a car or truck in your honor to the charity of your choice to help a lot of other people. Congratulations, Frank. Absolutely super.
Thank you very much.
Nice going, Frank.
Thank you, Reggie.
Nice going. Congratulations to you.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It wasn't unbelievable when you were out there.
I was able to forget about Game 4 now. I have a nice winter ahead with Game 7, and all the guys made it possible, and that's the way we played all year. It's just an incredible, incredible feeling.
Frank, coming back on 3 days rest, how did you feel going out there tonight?
I felt outstanding. You know, even the time in St. Louis I did, but the difference between tonight and Game 4 was I was able to get ahead strike 1 and pitch my game. When you're behind ball 1, ball 2, I think any team in baseball can hit you, and that was the case in 4. But
you struggled early in the second inning. You gave up a couple of runs, a couple of base hits, but then you settled down. What did you try to do?
Well, just to keep the team close. Guys have been coming back all year, and you know, today is just another case. And then when you know you have a Jeff Reardon behind you, all you do is try keeping it close and giving the guys a chance, and Jeff's going to come in and close it for you.
How did you feel leaving the ball game in the 8th inning when Tom Kelly talked to you?
He's been doing it all year. That's his exact words. We're doing it all year. We have Jeff to close the door. Why change now? And that was the case, and it worked out great.
Nice going. Congratulations to you. Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett, are you in here? If people would like to hear you. Kirby, come on up here, big guy. Whatever you want to tell me. Outstanding ball game.
Oh, man, it's great, man.
A lot of people had said that the Minnesota Twins could not win this World Series if you did not start hitting. You started yesterday.
Well, Reg, I felt great to play the last couple of days, and I just wanted to just do the best I could and just stay back and just try to contribute to the team offensively, because I hadn't done it in the previous 4 games.
Outstanding baseball game, fella. You showed the people that you are one great baseball player.
Well, Reg, I was just trying to come out and just do the things that I've done all year, and that's just play hard and just let my ability just take over. I'm just glad that Frankie got the MVP, man.
You sound like you're wound up.
Oh, man, I'm all wound up. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Have some more champagne. Let's go back upstairs to Al Michael.
All right, thank you, Reggie. And right now we are going to bring to you the Budweiser play of the game, which turns out to be an infield single. But this coming in the 6th inning with a score tied 2-2 and 2 out, and Greg Gagne grounding one just fair. Tom Lawless making a nice stop, but the throw to first too late, and that made the score 3-2. And the Twins were, of course, to go on to add another run. And Reardon did the job in the 9th inning. Viola gets the win, and the final score 4-2. Game 7 of the 1987 World Series has been brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet, the official car and truck of Major League Baseball. By the people of Holiday Inn Hotels who salute you. Here's to the winners. We're on your way. And by Merrill Lynch. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, and Tim McCarver with the story from the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Minnesota Twins are the world champions. A look now at the people we feel are the very best in our business.
A promotional fee has been paid to ABC by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
It's amazing what you can learn when you know how to read. Didn't know that.
Next Sunday, it's Patti LaBelle, Christine Ebersol, the Flying Karamazov, and Patrick Duffy.
Which kiss do you like better? Kiss number 1?
A nice kiss.
Or kiss number 2?
It's a special evening with Dolly. Then,
Buck James, I tested positive for AIDS.
Dennis Weaver.
Career? My life, Dad. I know the problem. How do you fix it?
Buck James. After Dolly, all coming up next Sunday.
And coming up next here on Eyewitness News tonight.
A Harris County official says an agreement to keep the Houston Oilers in town is just a signature away.
The Catholic Church in the Houston area is refusing traditional weddings to some couples who lived together before marriage.
And after more than a decade as the governor of Louisiana, Edwin Edwards bows out of the race. I'm Debbie Johnson.
And I'm Jim Rosenfield. Those stories and others are coming up next here on Eyewitness News tonight.
The weekend of November 6th, Clint Eastwood is back in the saddle and he's ready for anything. First, he's the cool bounty hunter whose job doesn't end till the job is done. Then when death stalks the high plains, the wise befriend the drifter. And finally, Clint takes on a whole army with 2 guns and a fistful of dynamite. Spend the weekend with Clint, because if you don't, Clint might just turn you into the law. And it all begins begins November 6th here on 13.